see me when I'm on air, though. Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to the Houston Fieldhouse for tonight's 38th annual Big Red Freakout. And it's a big one here between the RPI Engineers and the Clarkson Golden Knights. We have a big game here. My name is Perry Lascaris. I am joined by Tom Reel here in the booth. And Tom, RPI, a little bit of a skid here. 2 straight games without scoring a goal. They look to right that here in the Big Red Freakout.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a big game for RPI. Not just looking at what's happened in the recent past, but going forward as well for RPI. They've been unable to score in their last 2 games at Yale last weekend and then last night against St. Lawrence. After tonight, they've got 3 really big games coming up. Harvard next Friday, then Dartmouth, and then they've got #1 Quinnipiac coming to town. So the entire season really could swing on this game for the Engineers. If they can't get a result tonight, it's going to be a long time going forward for RPI.
Engineers have been ranked for the last 5 weeks in the polls, but what matters most is the pairwise, and they're dangerously close to falling out of contention in that department.
Absolutely. RPI sitting on the NCAA bubble right now. Their play down the stretch is going to dictate how well they can, if they can make the tournament.
It's going to be a big one here. The Engineers 14-9-6, 6 ties in the season. Some of those games could have gone either way, Tom. Looking to kind of rectify that and get some big wins here down the stretch.
Yeah, and like I just mentioned, it's a tough schedule coming at it tonight for RPI. So Clarkson is a team that has had rough spots recently, but they've been very good in the last few games.
We'll check out what RPI's done through the first 2 portions of this season. He feeds it far side for Wilson. Wilson leading the attack into the offensive zone. Still Wilson. Backhand pass right out in front. Rebound put wide by Liljegren to break out to center. Horn near side for Marnell. Marnell to the circle. Fed across. One-timer they score. What a play. The Engineers opened the 2015-16 season with a bang, knocking off first-ranked Boston College in their home opener. But 3 straight losses, including 2 in Alaska, created question marks for the fans of the Cherry and White. Michigan's on the board. Jason Kasdorf is out there and healthy. There's a shot and a goal. What a shot. Kept in the zone. Now a break in front and they score. A shot. The Engineers showed resilience, however, sweeping Union for the 2nd consecutive season, including a 5-1 rout in Schenectady. The strong play catapulted the team to a 9-game unbeaten streak that spanned over 2 months. An injury to starting goaltender Jason Kasdorf threw freshman Cam Hackett into the fire during the Engineers' first true road trip of the season in the North Country. He helped carry the torch that turned into that 9-game unbeaten streak. Move it to the slot, a shot coming, he scores!
After the puck came out of the zone, just tripping all over the
towards Reno. Knocked down in the circle, turning and shooting, he scores! Losses to nationally ranked Harvard and Dartmouth handed the team its only losing streak to date as the calendar turned to December. But RPI regained its form, rattling off 3 straight wins. After a loss at Miami, a 6-game unbeaten streak followed, which included a 1-0 win over nationally ranked Cornell and a 2-2 tie at first-ranked Quinnipiac. The Engineers captured the Mayor's Cup for the 2nd time in 4 years, knocking off Union 5-2.
The net, I thought somebody got a piece of that. Now the deflection,
14th ranked RPI welcomes their rivals from the North Country, Clarkson, to the Houston Fieldhouse for the 39th annual Big Red Freakout tonight, a team they tied 2-2 in Potsdam in November. Tom, the Engineers coming off a game against St. Lawrence yesterday. They generated 34 shots. Not a lot of scoring chances, really, but they fell to St. Lawrence in the end 3-0. But what were your thoughts on last night?
Well, to be fair, they were playing against a really tough netminder in Kyle Hayton, but they've got to find a way to score goals tonight. That's all it takes tonight.
Far side for Wilson. Wilson leading the attack into the offensive zone. Still Wilson. Backhand pass right out in front. Rebound put wide by Liljegren to break out to center. Horn near side for Marnell. Marnell to the circle. Fed across. One-timer they score. What a play. Far side up the boards. Marnell on for Horn. He'll pull it back down low. Centering pass. One-timer they score again. And it's Thompson again. He'll try and clear it out now. And now a chance here with an empty net. Loose puck, playing goalie is Bradley, and it's buried for the empty net goal. It's going to be Jacob Pritchard, and just like that, it's 3-0 with 1:50.
number 32, Pat McKennedy. At center, number 9, Ben Dalpe. And at right wing, number 8, Perry Caruso. The rest of the Clarkson Golden Knights, their head coach, Casey Jones. Fans, tonight's starting line brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's Good Life features a bold start and a smooth finish, just like your engineers. Leading the engineers on the ice tonight, your junior engineer, please welcome Nathan Nowitzki. Starting in the goal, the senior from Winnipeg, Manitoba, number 33, Jason Dexter.
Hey, we're going to come straight out of the anthems with lineups for the guys back in the hood.
We ask that you please rise as the RPI will play the national anthems of Canada and the United States of America.
Engineers will be wearing their cherry and whites here at home. The tradition, as is for the RPI's Big Red Freakout, the 39th edition of it here tonight, Tom. We can't harp on it anymore. It's a big game for RPI with a little bit of a skid.
But if there's going to be a home ice advantage for RPI, it's going to be tonight. The Big Red Freakout, it's a sold-out building. it doesn't get better than this if you're an RPI fan or if you're an RPI player, as far as generating home ice advantage and just the atmosphere that can take place in this building on a Big Red Freakout night. It's incumbent upon RPI to seize upon that early and make sure that that advantage stays throughout the game.
And if you can't hear it already, it's very, very loud in here through the opening intros and Al Shibley with the PA announcements. It's already a very lively atmosphere. This game hasn't started yet, but they're getting ready to drop the puck here at the Houston Fieldhouse.
Well, we've seen in past years that if RPI doesn't come out strong, it can really sap some of the energy out of this place, even in a freakout. So it's really incumbent upon RPI to get it done.
As we get set to drop the puck, we'll take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's game. RPI, as I mentioned, wearing red. You look at RPI head coach Seth Appert with Mark Cavosi, RPI former engineer who was a part of one of the more emotional freakout games back in 2002. An overtime win. Clarkson wearing their gold with white and green trim, green helmets. And it will be Mark Miller's line, the Messina, New York native, not far from both St. Lawrence and Clarkson, to win the opening draw for the Engineers. It'll be picked up by Kevin Tansey for Clarkson, and now we're set to go. Jared Wilson shoots it right back down the other way. Bouncing puck, Tansey plays it off the wall. Engineers keep it in the zone, however, as it's hauled in by Orval, flipped it towards the net, and Greg Lewis, who's been red hot, one of the top goaltenders in ECAC hockey through January in the second half of the season. Back behind the goal, Paul Geiger, senior from Stouffville, Ontario, stops up at his own blue line. Lots of energy, as you would expect from the Engineers on the forecheck, but in the end, it's going to be a shot in off of Jason Kasdorf's blocker, the senior from Manitoba, and he will deflect it into the netting.
Perry, you mentioned Greg Lewis, who's really been the rock for Clarkson these last month or so, and in the last 4 games, he's only given up a grand total of 3 goals. He had a shutout 4 games ago, and he's only given up 1 goal in each of the last 3 games. RPI's dealt with difficult defensive goaltenders in the last couple of games. They've got another one here tonight to try to tangle with.
Clean win, a shot from DeHaas, blocked by do-it-all man Riley Bourbonnais. It was good to see him back in the lineup last night, but the Golden Knights quickly shoot it back in. Tangling behind the goal, Prapavesis with his man, worked back to the point. That's Amorosa. In his young career, he's just a sophomore. He has caused the Engineers trouble from the blue line. Rob Bourbonnais trying to work it out of the zone, gets it to Lou Nanny. The team's top 2 point getters combining there to get the puck deep. James DeHaas looks to work it out of the corner, bouncing puck. Who's going to knock it down? It's going to be Zach Schrader, 5th-year senior out of Prior Lake, Minnesota, working it even further below the goal line. Play to the wall. Phil Hampton pinches in, but the Golden Knights pick it up and move it out to center. That one took a hard hop off the skate of Sam Vigno and allows the Engineers to jump back on it. Just underway here at the Houston Fieldhouse, the 39th annual Big Red Freakout in front of a sold-out crowd. Talking to Norris Pearson, who is in charge of this facility. It was the earliest sellout in his 17 years here at RPI. You can tell the excitement around this team as Victor Liljegren picks up the puck and plays it back to the point for Tommy Grant. His shot is blocked back to center where Jared Wilson gathers.
That's one thing we've seen RPI do better with. Sometimes when they get shots from the point in the past, have them bounce off somebody, it leads to odd man rushes, but the defense has been doing a good job of dropping back when those blocks happen.
Jared Wilson back to pick it up, finds Kenny Gillespie. He gets spun to the ice. This one's going to pop high in the air and into the RPI bench area. A little over 2 minutes in the first period here, Tom, and a little feeling out period, especially in these big kind of hyped up games like the Freakout.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned, the worst thing that RPI can do here early on in a Freakout game is to come out flat and show no momentum for the home crowd. They haven't done that. They've been pushing forward with the puck, and that's a good sign. Clarkson
on a 6-game unbeaten streak, 5-0-1 in their last 6 games. The Engineers had a 6-game unbeaten streak until they ran into Yale last Saturday, but then it's been 2 in a row without a win, 2 in a row without a goal as they look to change that here. Here's Tommy Grant in the far corner of his own zone. Jimmy DeVito throws a hit into Todd Christian. It'll be tracked down by Grant, trying to work it to Fulton. Pops in the air over the glass, and we'll have another stoppage. Fans still filtering in here. It will be that way for the first maybe half of the period, as a lot of folks not quite used to this much traffic coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to park myself on Burdett Avenue just about an hour ago, and I was already fairly parked up, which you don't usually see here at the Fieldhouse. They're going to be jamming on an awful lot of people here tonight.
As we draw it up from The neutral zone will be Riley Bourbonnais against Sam Vigneault. Vigneault 20 points. He leads the Golden Knights in all three categories, goals, assists, and points, 9, 11, and 20 respectively. As Mike Prapovessis, the senior from Oakville, Ontario, works it to the near side for Bourbonnais, who dumps it in. Trying to get there was Nanny, chopped away from him, kicked at by Schrader. Prapovessis a shot, and that one goes wide of Lewis. Bourbonnais throws his hands in the air after Powers goes down, as to say, I didn't trip him, and now it's Bourbonnais once more, one-handing it towards the point, handoff for Bradley. Fired towards goal, sticked away by Lewis to the wall. Schrader gets there, off for Nanny. Loon Nanny, quick feed to Bradley at the point, had a little bit of trouble with it, and then he gives it away. Powers picks it up and shoots it in. This will be icing on the Golden Knights, who did not gain the line there. Powers has his, one of his palms up as to say, I got close enough, but the linesman on the far side said no.
Well, one of the things that we've talked about in the last couple of games here in the ECAC has been the general lack of penalties being called. Bourbonnais certainly could have been called for something right there in normal ECAC play, but these last month or so, referees have been letting them play with the exception of dangerous plays.
Along the near wall, it's DeVito. Gloved down by Alex Rodriguez, who was out of the lineup last night, but he's making his 16th game of the season. Fired down low off the back of the net. It's going to be Fulton. Travis Fulton off the boards. Cycling for Rodriguez from Miami, Florida. He's roughed up by Vigneault, and it's cleared out to center. Mears Moore, the freshman from Duluth, Minnesota, to work it ahead for Jimmy DeVito. Cross-ice feed in the air, knocked out of the air by DeHaas to the corner. Rodriguez helps it on further for Fulton. Now Rodriguez behind the net, trying to throw it out in front. And DeVito's going to track it down. He was the only one who knew where the puck was. Fulton now at the wall to the point for Moore. Moore has some pressure coming in the way of Powers. He gets it deep, or make it to Perry DeRiso. Clarkson trying to clear. DeRiso gloves it out to center. And this will be, well, I thought it might have been a hand pass, but it was touched by an engineer. Oh, it was grasping the puck. That'll send the faceoff back to Clarkson territory.
That was one of Clarkson's top defensive pairings out there on that last sequence. Paul Geiger and James DeHaas have really been two of Clarkson's stalwarts for a number of years now on defense. It's tough to get anything done when they're out there, and Jimmy DeVito certainly found that out while he was trying to move that puck around Paul Geiger near the goal mouth.
There have been 7 penalties total called in RPI's last 3 games. As a shot comes from the slot, was blocked. Turning and shooting, Jake Wood, and that one went wide. DeRiso gets roughed up by Wood. Mark Miller trying to dig it out of there, and eventually played by Orval to the point. Bouncing puck skips by Wilson. Not an easy one to handle. Tommy Grant back to his own zone. Kicked in deep inadvertently by Orval. Wood's going to try and get there, poked away by the long reach of Amorosa, who stands at 6'2", 203. Wood towards the point. Can he keep it in? No. Out to center for the captain, Chris Bradley. Senior from Williamsville, New York, second in the nation with 74 blocked shots. He'll find Wood into the zone, glove down by Lewis, right to Amorosa, who will work it to the far wall. Clarkson moves it out to center for Kenny Gillespie to take over. The sophomore from Morrisville, North Carolina, gets it quickly ahead to Liljegren. Centering pass off the goaltender's stick. Gillespie had a second whack at it, and it's played behind. Far side wall, going to be Summers. He can't get it out of the zone. Picked up by Liljegren. Liljegren carries it back towards the point, where he continues to jam away with the winger on the far side, Nick Pirog. Left behind the goal by Summers. Ottawa Senators draft pick as a sophomore. Works it out for Aaron Foe, the only freshman in the lineup for Clarkson.
Clarkson looking a little sloppy on the passing here early in the first period.
Puck back to center. Bradley has it there. Worked it up the wall. For no one in particular, it'll be played right back by Tho. Now Bradley from behind his own goal. Leaves it in the corner. Good forecheck pressure is going to force a turnover. Simone Bissett, the senior from St. Jean, Quebec. Tied up along the wall now. Prapovessis trying to get it out of there. It'll be worked in deep by the Golden Knights. These two teams tied 2-2 back in November. A game which Jason Kasdorf was knocked out and forced backup goalie Cam Hackett to his first collegiate action. He took the tie in that game as Riley Bourbonnais pokes it into the zone, taken over by Tansey. Here comes Kevin Tansey. Shoots it in off the back wall, left there by Kasdorf. Given right away, Christian walking in front, lost the handle, and he couldn't get the shot off. Now Tansey a shot, save Kasdorf, rebound blocked by Moore as he got in front of that try by A.J. Fawcett. the second leading scorer for the Golden Knights with 18 points. Now Amorosa from behind his own goal. Nanny is upended, but he got tangled up that time with Perry DeRiso. Now Amorosa navigating into the RPI zone. Nearly took a knee there, but he works it out to center. Engineers have it. It's Wood. Drop pass for Grant. Back down low for Wood. Centering pass right out in front, and a good defensive stick. I don't know who it was, but they kept it from getting to Schrader.
Nice defensive play there by James DeHaas. Like I was mentioning before, one of the top defensemen for Clarkson, and he makes another great play there for the Golden Knights.
Amorosa back for DeHaas, and now out to center. Vigneault, centering pass. Pirog, fanned on the shot. Loose puck out in front, and it's going to be covered. Not sure if Kasdorf had that before the whistle went. Maybe a little bit of a slow whistle, but he had it underneath him in the end.
Well, Jason Kasdorf hasn't had an awful lot of work here in the first 7.5 minutes of this contest. He's only faced 2 so far. We're about to see the stop that he just made there. Not much of a shot by Clarkson, but Kasdorf going to pounce on that one anyway with the big red circling the crease.
Face-off win in the defensive zone for Prapavesis. Around for Bradley. Here's Miller for the Engineers. Long outlet pass. Skips right by, and Orval's going to try and jump on it. Jesper Orval to the net. Put it off the blocker as Lewis got out of his net to make the save. Behind the cage played there by Danilo. And the Engineers forced the turnover. Orval from Halmstad, Sweden. 11 points on the season for the freshman. He's upended by Tho. A couple of freshmen going at it there. Now going down the play on the far side was Prapavesis. Taken over by the Golden Knights, Jordan Boucher. Fanning on the initial pass before getting it in is Summers, as Kasdorf will leave it behind for Bradley. Long outlet pass for Rodriguez. He's offside. DeVito tiptoes the line before heading back to neutral ice.
It's a good heads-up play by DeVito to see that Rodriguez was just barely over that line.
Tipped into the zone by DeVito. And then right back out to center. Here's Mears Moore. An offensive defenseman by trade, Moore. Former Victoria Grizzly. A goal and 5 assists for 6 points on the year. Back comes Clarkson the other way. Geiger shoots it in. Another offensive defenseman in this game. Geiger and DeHaas, 2 of the better ones on the team. As Liljegren tries to skate it out to center, pushed it a little bit too far in front of him. That'll allow Dolpe to keep it in. Shot coming, save, Kasdorf, no rebound as Pat McGinnity got loose in the circle.
Nice heads-up shot by McGinnity, who had a little bit of open ice to work with, but unfortunately for him and unfortunately for most shooters who are going to take on Jason Kasdorf, pretty much open ice. It's a big, pretty easy save for Kasdorf. He didn't have to move much to make that one, and when he can see the puck, usually he's in pretty good position to make that save.
Draw coming in the RPI zone. Shots are 3-2 Engineers early. Some pucks have missed the net in this period. We've had some decent back and forth. Nanny taps it out to center. Easily chased down by Powers of Clarkson. Over to Amorosa. He lost it a bit on the stick handle, and Bourbonnais nearly walked away with it. Didn't realize that the big D-man was going to lose the puck there. Here's DeHaas. DeHaas from Mississauga, Ontario. 3 goals, 9 assists for him. The junior stands at 6'3", and as Tom mentioned, very dynamic offensively. Here's Vigneault now into the RPI zone, stolen away by the Engineers. Here's Wilson carrying through center. Hasn't met too much in the way of a goal tonight, but now they cross the line offside.
This is a part of the game where RPI might want to consider trying to use some of their speed to get past the Clarkson defensive front going forward. We've seen the Engineers have a lot of success moving forward, not necessarily with numbers, but at least with speed, trying to catch the other team in transition and trying to burn them with a solid counterattack. They really need to string a couple of nice passes to get together to get that going, though.
In early development in this game, the Engineers are off to a 6-3 advantage in the faceoff department. Not what you'd expect from the 8th best faceoff team in the country in Clarkson. Engineers towards the bottom of the nation. Well under 50%. We have an icing call against the Engineers here.
And that was certainly something that burned RPI last night. Pretty much throughout the game, St. Lawrence is winning faceoffs. Not even just at inopportune times, just at pretty much every time. And when there was faceoffs down in the RPI end, that was pretty much giving the Saints a free opportunity on net. And when there was an opportunity in the St. Lawrence end, well, the Engineers just weren't able to take advantage of that.
Face off here, trickling towards Kasdorf. He swats it to the corner. Carried on further along the wall. And Gillespie has it out for Prapavesis. He likes to jump into the attack, has 11 assists on the year from the blue line. Lost the puck there. Scooped high in the air and out to center by Tho. And now Bradley has it. Spinning away from a little bit of pressure from Todd Christian. And the Engineers get it right back in, but Tho has it again. Tansey now, down the middle. Connects there to Danilo. That's bottled up at the line as we get a look at Milos Bubela. Gets his first touch on the puck here. The senior from Banska Bystrica, Slovakia. Here's Rodriguez trying to pry it away from Tansey. Cross ice feed, a little bit too far for the intended target. But it's found again by Geiger, who flips it off the wall. Now Wilson decks his man right in front of the RPI bench. He gets the crowd going. Cross ice feed, Wilson wants to skate now. 4 goals on the season. Wilson fires it off the skate of Tansey. It'll be controlled by Fulton. Back to Wilson, shot blocked by a defender, high off the glass in the corner. DeVito down low for Fulton. Handoff for Fulton, back to DeVito, back to Fulton. Travis Fulton to the slot, and ran out of room and plays it off the wall for DeVito, who looks to cycle. Danilo will claim a loose puck and play it to the corner for Geiger. That one will pop in the air but stay on the ice. Bouncing up the boards, it's controlled by Boucher. Now an outlet pass to center ice. Nick Piron, wrister blocked by Prapavesis, played behind the goal. Prapavesis knows a thing or two about blocking shots as well. He up over 60, is second on the team. As the fans starting to get vocal here at the Houston Fieldhouse. The giveaway, by the way, this evening, Tom, was mittens.
Mittens. Large mittens.
Useful.
Yes, very useful.
Tip to center, controlled there by DeHaas. Cross ice feed, bouncing puck, skips right by the intended target, Perry DeRisa. Don't know too many more Perrys in college hockey, but I root for him when they're not playing the Engineers. At least him personally. Bouncing right back into RPI territory. Will this be icing? Kasdorf thinks it will be, and it will.
You gotta be careful, Perry. You know, there is the assertion around here that the team that he plays for might not allow you to even,
that's true.
Even silently root for him.
I root for his individual successes.
Is there a league of Perrys? Are you familiar in that sense? Is that not that you know of?
Well, they have a backup goalie named Steve Perry too, who I'm also slightly am fond of his play as well. But he can make a lot of saves and still lose. I'll be happy with that.
Okay.
Back behind the goal is James DeHaas, averaging 2.5 shots per game. That's the most on the team. You see that sometimes for defensemen, as Chris Bradley's usually around the lead on the RPI side of things, just trying to get pucks to the net in that case. There's a big hit along the boards. Fans want to call as Miller was dumped in front of the Clarkson bench. They're not going to get it here, and we talked about it, Tom, not calling a lot of penalties anywhere on the ice.
It's almost got to be either a clear offensive opportunity taken away or a dangerous hit that's going to cause penalties in this game tonight.
Wood centering a pass that Orval couldn't quite handle. It was a hot one. And now Wood again has it knocked away by Powers. Kept in by Schrader, wrists one wide of goal. Amorosa's going to try and track it down. Wood goes hard into the boards and caught mostly Amorosa's stick on the hit, but it's going to be Orval now. Jesper Orval spins away from some pressure. He lost to Haas in the process, but then he shoots it right off to Haas's leg, and he'll be back out to center. DeHaas dumping in. Powers will chase for Clarkson, but to me, Phil Hampton, the first one to it for RPI. The senior from Oakville, Ontario, has played in all 29 games for the Engineers. Hit along the boards, and down goes Summers, but it goes behind for Vigneault. Poked loose by Hampton. Vigneault still on it. Centering pass right out in front. And it is a fight for the puck. Cleared away by Wilson, but only as far as the line. Summers a shot. Blocked by Nanny. Vigneault once more. Back to Summers at the point. Holding. Waiting. Looking for a shooting lane. He continues to back up. Fires one. It's blocked by Wood. Wood leads all ECAC hockey forwards in block shots, and he showed why right there.
Yep, Jake Wood and Jared Wilson, a great defensive stand there for those two Engineers on that offensive sequence for the Golden Knights.
All the way into RPI territory it goes. 6 minutes to go in a fast-paced first period. Riley Bourbonnais up the boards, gaining speed into the offensive zone. Avoids a bit of a hip check, walking right in. Bourbonnais to the backhand. Save made. Rebound. It's held by Lewis. What a stop by the Clarkson netminder, keeping this game scoreless.
And that was part of what RPI has been missing with Riley Bourbonnais out of the lineup. That was a great individual effort by him, not just to move the puck quickly, which is something that the Engineers need to see from their forwards if they're going to be successful in counterattacking. Riley Bourbonnais moved that puck up the near boards with all due haste and then manage to keep control of the puck while evading a hip check. That's a great recipe for getting a quality shot on goal, and that's what he did right there.
Riley Bourbonnais, the junior from Rochester, 13 goals and 7 assists for 20 points. Bradley, a shot saved. Rebound, they score!
That's exactly what RPI tried to do all last night. Put the puck on net, get that rebound, and then put it in. They were unable to get one past Kyle Hayton, but that puck dropped right in front of Greg Lewis. And right on the doorstep, waiting to shovel that one home, is Milos Bubella. He puts it home to give RPI a 1-0 lead in the Big Red Freakout.
6th goal of the season from Milos Bubella. You get another look at it there. You're right, Tom. That's something that Hayton didn't do last night. He didn't leave a juicy rebound for the Engineers to take advantage of. That time they got it off a shot from Bourbonnais, finished off by Bubella.
And Perry, you were talking about the shots that are being taken by Chris Bradley. He's not an offensive defenseman, but he takes shots from the point that generates goals, and that's exactly what happened right there as Bradley gets the primary assist on that tally.
Back out to center. The Engineers scoring first is a good sign for fans of the Cherry and White. We'll get to that in a moment as the pass is moved out to center by Bubella for Victor Liljegren. He had a big night against Brown last Friday, a week ago Friday, helping the Engineers come back from a 3-0 deficit to win 4-3. Looking to get off the schneid personally, Liljegren, in his sophomore season. Now Bubella into the zone. Stick handling through. He's hog-tied and taken down. Penalty coming up here on the Golden Knights. And that was this pure skating of Milos Bubella drawing that penalty. We've seen him do that throughout his career.
That's absolutely something he's been known for, is being willing to take control of the puck, move it into the zone, not along the boards, mind you, but right at open ice, trying to take it almost sometimes coast to coast. That time he got an opportunity to split the defense, and really it was all that James DeHaas could do to take him down in order to keep him from going in on his netminder one-on-one. I think if you're Clarkson, it's not a bad penalty to take, but just after giving up a goal, they're certainly back on their heels. It is a major penalty kill now for the Golden Knights. Not a major penalty kill in the sense of a major penalty,
not literally,
but an important penalty kill for Clarkson here.
RPI in the power play, 13.3%, just 9th in ECAC hockey of the 12 teams. Clarkson on the PK, 83.5%. That's 5th in the conference. Phil Hampton shooting it around. RPI player lost his stick. That was Miller. Gets a new one from the bench. To the fine work of Dana McGuane, the RPI equipment manager. Into the circle it goes. Schrader had to hobble over part of that broken stick. Clearing effort off the glass and out to center, where it'll be wrapped up by the Engineers.
RPI's power play certainly hasn't been a big part of their success this year, but they've looked a little bit better in the limited times that we've seen them in the last couple of weeks. So here's one of those limited opportunities to see the power play in action, and if they can get it going here, they can establish themselves as the clear dominant team in this game.
Orval gets whacked at the line, trying to walk it in, and he's forced back out. And the puck is forced back out to center. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the first period, halfway through this RPI power play. First to the game for either team. Back to claim it is Summers. Kelly Summers behind the goal. Works it out past DeRiso. And now it's Mears Moores being hounded by DeRiso. Does enough to get it back to Prapavesis. Now Bourbonnais had to cut off his momentum going forward. He'll turn back towards his own netminder.
That's outstanding forechecking by Dylan Garrow.
Garrow, the sophomore from Richmond, Ontario, finally has to give way as the Engineers break to center. Bobella shielding the puck, takes a hit. Vigneault trying to clear it out, and he gets it by the glove of Moore and all the way down. Engineers have not been able to establish anything on this power play.
Yeah, and credit the Clarkson penalty kill here. They're doing really a stand-up job of making RPI work for it. They kind of gave up a questionable shot to the Engineers early in this power play. They just scored it away from Greg Lewis, but on the whole, so far, a decent penalty kill for Clarkson.
Into the zone they come. It's DeVito. 9 seconds left on the man advantage. Trying to work it back to the point. It's kicked at by Tanzi. Vigneault, a dangerous pass to the middle of the ice. Nearly cost him, but the help of Garrow allowed the Golden Knights to clear. As it's going to be Vigneault spinning back to the neutral zone to regather. We are now at even strength. And now a chance for a 2-on-1 down low. DeRiso, shot coming, deflects to the corner. Liljegren, he wraps up there with Dalpe. Dalpe now ties up with DeVito, and it's played up the wall. Right back down low over Dalpe, or make it DeRiso, who just got up. And now he's sent right back to the ice by Phil Hampton. They continue to scrap in the corner. Over 4,700 fans, a sellout crowd here at the Houston Fieldhouse, taking this one in.
Waiting for the whistle here. That puck's been in there for a while.
It finally comes out as it's played there by McGinnity. McGinnity trying to backhand it in front, throws it right to Wood. He can't find it, and then he inadvertently merely played it off his own netminder, but the Engineers do play it out to center. He was trying to shoot it behind the net, but I think he caught Kasdorf for that one. Not going to be a shot.
That may have been the longest puck battle I've ever seen without a whistle. That was in the corner for a good 15-20 seconds.
Wilson trying to clear it. Can't get it by the point man Boucher, but a second effort will. It's Wilson shooting it far side of the ice, trying to find Miller. Amoroso works it right back out to center. Trying to jump on it here is Pirog, and he will. A shot coming, saved by Kasdorf, rebound, smothered on the try by Jeff Danello. A sneaky player is the senior Danello from Aurora, Ontario.
And he's one that RPI players probably have a little bit of memory of, given that he was the player up in Potsdam who collided with Jason Kasdorf, put him out for the game and out for nearly a month. He was subsequently suspended by the ECAC for the hit, but nothing so far in terms of retaliation, which I think is good if you're an RPI fan. You don't need to get into that. That's part of the past at this point.
Don't need to dabble in that here, especially in such a big game where the Engineers hold a 1-0 lead here in the first period. Amorosa on for Danello. Nice play by Pirog to knock that one out of the air. Blocker save to the circle. Engineers have the rebound covered. It's Zach Schrader. Schrader to center ice, carrying into the offensive zone. Miller firing it near side at the hands of Nanny, who gets out of the way. Back to the point for Bradley. Now Prapavesis. Prapavesis holding, spinning, works it down low. Miller, he's wrapped up by Amorosa. And now Nanny. Miller, good cycle by the Engineers as DeHaas knocks Miller down, picks up the puck, and finds Boucher. Amorosa now with a little bit of pressure coming from Schrader. Under a minute to go in the first period. DeHaas will flip it in off the glove of Bradley. Vigneault, the first one to it, wave off the hand pass. Behind the net, Powers trying to center, broken up by Babella. Milos Babella carrying out to center, he'll ring it in. 24 seconds to go in the period. It comes off the dasher to the corner. Bourbonnais right back down low. Liljegren. He's tied up there by Geiger. Babella once more. Works it to the circle, turning and shooting. A glove save by Lewis, who saw that one well. And he holds on for the whistle with 9.4 left in the period.
And Milos Babella's been a one-man wrecking crew here in the first period. He's got the only goal. He also drew the penalty that put RPI in the power play earlier in this period, and he had a decent opportunity right there as well. That's a good job of him filling in there. Him and Riley Bourbonnais so far in this game, filling in for Drew Melanson, who's out of this contest after taking a puck off of looked like his knee last night against St. Lawrence in the final minute. That's some good sacrifice by Melanson, taking one with in the final minute while they were down 3-0. But going forward, I think the Engineers are going to hope that they can get Drew Melanson back into the lineup.
They have another faceoff coming here as the puck left the ice again, so maybe one more chance for his shot with 4.4 seconds left in the period.
Sometimes you see the netminder pulled here, but Jason Kasdorf still in net. A faceoff win and a quick shot would be something for RPI.
Bounding to the wall, Babella turning, maybe a last backhand shot over the top of the net. That would have been something spectacular as Lewis had most of the net covered from that near post area.
Also wouldn't have counted since the puck didn't fly real until after the whistle, but RPI got to be feeling good with the way the first period ended up. They have an 8-4 shot total advantage. They are leading in faceoffs 10-7, and most importantly, they have the lead in this one by a score of 1-0.
Shots in the first period, 8-4 Engineers. Pretty much dictated how this one went. Have to be happy with that. Jason Kasdorf has faced a ton of shots all year. Anytime they can have a period where he allows just the 4 on him or 4 towards him, is something that have to be helpful for him, just to give him a little bit of a break. Face-offs surprisingly in favor of the Engineers, 10-7. The power plays RPI 0 for 1. Block shots in favor of RPI, that may have led a little bit to the shot disparity. 6 block shots for RPI in the first period to Clarkson's 1.
But some good possession for RPI late in that period, and that bodes well for the Engineers going forward. As long as they can keep possession of the puck, they're going to be dictating the flow of this game.
Thanks, Tom. We'll now send it down to Melanie Deporian, who's with Milos Babella, the goal scorer for RPI in that first period. Milos picking up his 6th of the season.
Milos, how does it feel to have RPI's first goal in 2 games?
It's really good. It's really get us going. We need to score first. We got a better record if we score first, so it's a good start. We got to keep going and just bang on him.
All right, that's Milos.
Are we good?
I can't hear anything.
We're fine. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce the members of the RPI alumni, hockey alumni in attendance this weekend. Class of 76, Pat Bell.
You ready, Lou?
Yep.
Let's go.
For the Engineers, they get that first goal, all important first goal. They have a great record, the Engineers do, when getting that first goal in the game.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been gigantic for RPI this season. When they can get the first goal, it goes an awful long way towards getting them victory at the end of the day. Now, one thing to take a look at if you're an RPI fan is that the second and third periods, not always the strongest. A lot of times you see RPI coming out and getting a strong first period. They've been unable to follow it up with strong second and or third periods. They need to be able to make sure they come out of this one on lockdown, ready to continue doing what was making them successful in that first period, which is possessing the puck well, getting good looks, and taking good shots on goal, because Greg Lewis tonight, not quite as adept as Kyle Hayton was last night in keeping the initial shots from being, basically keeping the initial shots as the only ones that the Engineers were able to take. RPI is going to be successful when they can scoop up rebounds, put them in the back of the net. That's exactly what happened in the first period as Milos Rubella scored off of a rebound to give RPI a 1-0 lead.
RPI, really the formula here, is a formula here for success for RPI. 6 blocked shots in that first period, forcing Kasdorf to have just the 4 shots on goal, getting that first goal. This seems to be the right kind of game plan for RPI. It's kind of working in their favor so far.
Absolutely, and RPI doing a great job with that.
CLASS, Clustered Learning Advocacy and Support for Students, can be called the student experience.
It looks at providing students with the intellectual depth.
We create a holistic experience for the students beyond just creating great technicians, engineers, and scientists.
I didn't know who I was going to become, where I was going.
I have these people who really root for you on so many levels.
Through going through the experience of class at Rensselaer, you come out a totally different, self-actualized human that's really ready to change the world for the better.
At RPI, it's so much more than just in the classroom learning.
The clubs here, they're a great opportunity for the students.
There's so many opportunities for students to take the initiative.
I've been able to travel to a foreign country and try and help a community that's in need.
I was able to work for Boeing, handling tens of thousands of dollars of equipment every single day. It is the real life, real world experience.
Students are the best part of being at Rensselaer.
They're excited, they're enthusiastic, they're inspired to go out and do great things in their lifetime.
They come out as global thinkers.
They're empowered by this grand vision of really making an impact.
Everyone has made me feel like I will be a great person one day.
They intend to make a difference, and they believe that they can.
I have been transformed in every way at Rensselaer.
Intellectual agility, multicultural sophistication, and a global view. We call it the Rensselaer Plan 2024. And we aim to be transformative in 3 fundamental ways. In our pedagogy, in becoming ever more innovative and doing unique things with our students, in the global impact of our research, and in the lives of our students. We're nearly 200 years old, and even as we're marching up to celebrate that bicentennial, we are looking to position Rensselaer for the future. Why not change the world? And so we're living out that every day of the week.
Joining us between periods is RPI Athletic Director, Dr. Lee McElroy. And Lee, thanks for coming on with us between periods. We have an action-packed game, and obviously this being your first Big Red Freakout, what are your first impressions?
Well, my first impressions are the synergy between the alumni, the team, the student body, and the faculty and the staff. And we started yesterday with the Alumni Association Board, speaking with them about the direction of athletics and how athletics fits into the future of the university. So to see all those different groups working together, excited, it's a very special event.
And what does this event, what events like this mean to the student body as a whole?
Well, first of all, it gives you a point of pride and tradition. And this is the 37th Big Red Freakout. So that means over the years it's only gotten better. We were at the alumni house early today at 4:30. Got to see a lot of people who've been coming to these for 37 years. So to see young kids, 7, 8 years old, enjoying it as much as people who are more mature, very, very special indeed.
Recently, you guys have announced the additions to the Houston Fieldhouse. What's the ideas? What are the plans for the future of this facility?
Well, it's in the concept stage now,
Okay.
but one of the things that we want to do is to make sure that the seating is improved. That's number one. So obviously, that's going to be a big number. Secondly, we'd like to see a replica of what we have on the west end, on the east end. And third, and most important, our guys need an area where they can warm up and not have to do it out where people can see them. So those are the three critical areas. Our team is doing well. We've got great kids, but they need to be supported. And events like this help to showcase that.
Well, Lee, short time here because we got a lot of folks to talk to, including Dr. Jackson coming up here. So thank you so much for coming up and joining us between periods.
Thanks for having me, and let's go Red.
Witness the speed and power of elite student athletes on display. A trip to the NCAA Men's Frozen Four is at stake, but first they must earn a regional crown. It all comes down to this moment, and the winner advances to the Frozen Four. Be there to share the experience with your family and friends. The 2016 NCAA Division I Men's Ice Hockey East Regional, March 26th and 27th at the Times Union Center in Albany, New York. Visit ncaa.com/Frozen4 to secure your tickets today.
Joining us now here, our second interview of the period is Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson, RPI's 18th president. Dr. Jackson, thanks so much for coming up here, making the trek up to the top of the press box to join us.
It's my great pleasure.
Dr. Jackson, you recently received the National Medal of Science from President Obama. What was that experience like? I'm sure you've had a number of them like that, but bringing that kind of experience back to RPI.
Well, there are a couple of things to be said. One, we got snowed out for part of it. But having said that, I mean, it's a high point of my career. I mean, it is the highest honor one can get from the United States government. But, then coming back here, I think it sheds great light on the university because part of what's being recognized is my quote-unquote leadership here. But this is a great institution, and so I think this helps us all.
Absolutely. And Dr. Jackson, this is obviously one of your favorite events. How could it not be? The Big Red Freakout here. What are some of the things you like about this event and events like this one?
Well, I've always said community is important and community. And if you just look around, that's what it's about. And you saw the returning hockey players. It's a multi-generational celebration. And to me, it represents spirit and community, and Rensselaer has a great athletic tradition.
I know this game sold out here at the Houston Fieldhouse since Tuesday, one of the earliest it's been in a long time. There are folks watching from all over the country, all over the world. What does that mean for RPI to have such a strong reach on an event such as this?
Well, I think, first of all, we have a great alumni base. Secondly, we do have this great athletic tradition. And third, we've been doing pretty well. So it all helps.
All those things contribute. Well,
Yeah.
Dr. Jackson, thanks again for joining us here between periods. And we'll look to speaking with you again soon.
Okay, thank you.
It's Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson here between periods of the Houston Fieldhouse for the 39th Annual Big Red Freakout. We'll have more coming up in just a moment on RPI TV.
Why not change the world?
Respond to a society and its needs, and Rensselaer has that commitment.
We do research not because it's easy to do. Use the combination of science and engineering to address some of the important problems in healthcare and in environment.
Data science and data analytics, high-performance computing, and the very technologies that connect us.
You can change the world. Like you are at Rensselaer. That's what you're here to do.
As it's picked off by Higgs. He's got a one-on-one if he hurries. Now Fulton joining him. Higgs, left wing, deeks through. He's got some space in front. Oh, what a play by Brock Higgs! Backhander, 5-hole, and it's 5-2.
Brock Higgs. Now, for those of you watching on RPI TV, that was a pretty goal. For those of you listening on the radio, you're just going to have to trust us.
Here now with Nick Dvorak for you here, and awesome event. You see your faces painted here. You love the Freakout regardless of what's going on, but what is your impressions of this one?
Honestly, this is the 39th Annual Freakout. I love the gifts. I hope everybody got a chance to snag their free mittens on their way in. If not, I think we have about a half a dozen left going like fire. Even a couple Clarkson fans decided to go red, so that was fun. And this is a great tradition. We've even created a couple of rules in the NCAA for vuvuzelas in the past.
That's right, the horn. And we have one here. I promise we'll bring the vuvuzela out sometime during this game. I know it's around here somewhere. But yes, it was a gift back in '83, and then again in '87, the Brown game. The Engineers won that one 8-3, and that caused the NCAA to come up with the RPI rule. And that's where it stands here. So the school is known for that, but also known for the hats that you guys wear.
I don't wear this as a fashion statement, I promise.
I see it's red, which is perfect for tonight.
Oh yeah, this one's actually been passed down from PU to PU for the past about 30 years. So it's a little bit worn and torn, but this baby's still kicking.
And you're in charge of the student union. You oversee all the budgets for the different student clubs, over 200 clubs, including RPI TV that you're watching tonight's game on. What is that like, and what kind of pressures and things you have to deal with in that case?
So overall, it is quite a bit of work, I'll be honest, but I have an amazing staff and an amazing set of students that volunteer endless hours and put in so much effort to get all of our budgets done on time and in the institute system and in the information past the students directly.
So RPI TV, has a solid budget. Obviously, they're always looking to get donations to do more and more things, like help put on this kind of production, and it's a great one. You have Dr. Jackson, you have Dr. McElroy, and of course you and more to follow in the second intermission. So it seems to be working pretty well, at least with these groups and some of the other clubs on campus.
I think so. I think we're doing a great job, and next year we're going to be sound fiscally. I promise.
Oh, you promise? So last question for you. Okay. You're an RPI hockey fan outside of everything else. What's been the most exciting thing for you following the team?
Well, right now we've got a 3-win sweep against Union this season, and I've lost my voice like 3 times in a row. So right now I'm fading a little bit. I'm hoping to keep it till the rest of the period. And honestly, I love this game. I love this team. I love this school. Go Red.
Awesome. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us between periods here, and I'm sure I'll be seeing you again, whether it be the RPI Clubhouse Pub where you work. Trivia night on Tuesdays. And thanks so much for stopping by. We'll be back with more here from the Houston Fieldhouse and the Big Red Freakout here on RPI TV.
Go Red.
We are positioning Rensselaer as the new Polytechnic, an institution that brings people together, to solve big challenges, what I call the hard problems. It's wired into our DNA. It's how the university was started.
How do we take data and make it into sound rather than into vision?
Through this remarkable
really,
combination of technology.
The greatest innovations come in technology when there's also this fluid thinking that's often associated with arts.
I think that gives us a step up in really making significant transformative changes.
Science, engineering, the arts, humanities, it's that whole spectrum of education.
There's a really big fusion going on between arts and science.
You've got a critical mass of people who are genuinely interested in problem solving and genuinely curious.
As an institution, we want to make a global impact. We ask the question every day, why not change the world?
We do research not because it's easy to do, not because we're focusing on simple problems.
We don't want to shirk from large problems because they're large. In fact, we would rather go toward them
on the premise of applying science for the common purposes of life.
That means creating solutions around the world.
It takes all the Rensselaer resources, including the support system, the education system, the research infrastructure, to prepare a complete whole student for the future.
We're going to position our students to understand the world, to know what kind of technologies the world needs.
The focus isn't just becoming a great scientist or a great researcher, but it's showing our students how to function adequately as a human being in the rest of the world.
By shaping ourselves as the new Polytechnic, by bringing people together across the disciplines, by using advanced technologies in unique ways to address really challenging but interesting issues, and to position Rensselaer for its third century as the new Polytechnic.
Back here live at the Houston Fieldhouse, Perry Lascaris and Tom Reel bringing you all the action on RPI TV. Lots going on between periods, Tom. It was a whirlwind. We had Dr. Jackson, Dr. McElroy, the president of the union. Exciting stuff here, and we still have 2 more periods to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's Big Red Freakout night. It's the biggest night on the calendar for a reason. Everyone's back. The alums are back. Even the Clarkson band showed up. That's how big the Big Red Freakout is this year. A sold-out crowd here at Houston Fieldhouse. And they see the Engineers taking a 1-0 lead here as we get set to start the second period. That goal scored by Milos Bubela is 6th of the year. Assists were to Chris Bradley and Riley Bourbonnais at 14-16 of the first period. That's the only goal we've got so far. I would expect probably some more in this one, although we are dealing with a couple of netminders who, in the last month or so, have been among the more superior in the ECAC. So one was enough last night as the Engineers were unable to solve the St. Lawrence Saints. But I think if you're an RPI fan, you're not going to want to sit on one for the rest of this game. There's still 40 minutes left. Certainly some more opportunity for offense on both sides of the ice.
Some historical info for you. This is the 4th time that Clarkson and RPI have met in the Big Red Freakout. Clarkson winning the first matchup back in 1988, 6-5. The Engineers coming back with wins in 2002, 4-3 in overtime, and in 2004, 4-2. So some high-scoring games in history, but we have 2 solid goaltenders, as Tom mentioned, and we are underway in the second period as Tommy Grant's going to clear it out to center. Right back onto the tape of Jared Wilson. The sophomore will flip it into the Clarkson zone before he tangles with Perry DeRiso. And it's puck trickling back into the Engineers' end. And it'll be gloved by Kasdorf out of the net. He takes a whack from Agenity, and he gets triple teamed by 3 Engineers. And when one of your teammates has already run your goaltender this year, you're going to take
a little bit more exception.
Yeah.
And to be very honest, even before the opening puck drop, Perry DeRiso and Jared Wilson were kind of jawing at each other. They were using their sticks to, let's say, become acquainted with one another, tapping each other, kind of pushing and shoving even before the opening face-off here for the second period. Maybe a little bit of bad blood starting to boil here between the Engineers and Golden Knights. We'll see what, if anything, is going to be called. It looks like they're going to be calling some penalties. I'd be shocked if they weren't matching in some way.
They will. One each. It'll be Mark Miller for RPI and the aforementioned DeRiso for Clarkson.
Just prior to that little dust-up, DeRiso actually almost put Jared Wilson right into the Clarkson bench to follow up on the minor amount of truculence that was occurring right before the face-off. So we're going to skate 4-on-4 here for the next 2 minutes with the penalties to DeHaas and Miller.
Face-off in the RPI zone is going to be Chris Bradley. Back around for Zach Schrader as the Engineers continue to do a fair job in the circle. They've now won 11 draws to Clarkson's 7. We play 4-on-4 hockey here for another minute 45. DeHaas taps it to the corner for Amorosa. Terrence Amorosa, the sophomore from Kirkland, Quebec, will skate the puck into the RPI zone. Still Amorosa, stolen away by Prapavesis. He'll find Bradley. The Engineers have a two-man break if they want to find him, and they do. Here's Bourbonnais into the zone. Has Schrader with him. Wrist shot coming. Shoulder save by Lewis. And it's flipped up. Netting.
We get DeHaas in the box. It is, in fact, DeRiso. They have the wrong number up on the board. So it's Perry DeRiso off for Clarkson. Mark Miller in the box for the Engineers. And we have another minute 20 remaining on the 4-on-4.
Face off in the Clarkson zone. Back to Bradley, and now Prapavesis. Trying to spin away from the check of Danello. Engineers get it deep. Nanny can't find it. Poking into the slot. Right by Babella. A chance here for Bradley. Save. Babella overskated the puck there.
Just lost it off of his stick, but another couple of golden opportunities for RPI here.
Babella along the half boards. He gets shoved down to the ice. And a chance for Clarkson to break. No. A sliding play by Babella denies a 2-on-1 chance.
That's just not giving up. He was right there flat on his stomach, but he's still able to make the defensive play to keep Clarkson from getting a breakaway.
Into the zone is the defenseman Summers, popped high in the air by Jesper Orval. We've seen his ability to play the puck in the air this year. Great hand-eye coordination for the freshman from Sweden.
If you ever watch him before games, you can see him sometimes juggling the puck, and he will juggle that puck maybe some 10, 12 times before it falls to the ice. He's got great hand-eye coordination.
Well, he just misplayed that one. You almost expect him to knock that one out of the air. He doesn't. And back comes Kevin Tansey for the Golden Knights into the RPI zone. Shot coming, save Kasdorf. He swats at the rebound, is played to the corner. Picked up by McGinnity. He's now met by DeVito, who blocked the shot with his stick, and it's played around to the corner for Wilson. Jared Wilson now, outlet pass, tipped into the zone by DeVito. First one to it will be Paul Geiger. Geiger around, and we get a whistle here, and there's an icing call, of course, because we were playing even strength throughout. Now we are 5-on-5 again.
Maybe a slight advantage to RPI in that 4-on-4. They did have some quality chances on that 2-minute sequence. Some more great play by Milos Babella, and really a big opportunity for Chris Bradley when the puck came free to him at the point, but wasn't able to find the net with it.
Shot around and out to center ice, where it's picked up by Amorosa. Now DeHaas thought about passing it, pulled it back and lost the handle, allowing Miller to shoot it in. Amorosa indirect behind the goal, finding DeHaas. On further, here's Powers into the offensive zone. Trying to get around Prapavesis, threw it off the base of the net. It caromed out in front, but Vigneault couldn't get there before the Engineers could work it to the corner. Now a centering pass, one-time shot. Kasdorf made the save on the man in front. That was Powers. Amorosa, now DeHaas, carries it center blue line. Wrist shot way high and wide off the glass. Schrader will try to work it up the wall for Nanny. He'll get it as far as the blue line, where it's swatted right back in by Fossen. Vigneault all wrapped up by Grant. Schrader plays it behind before taking a hit from Fossen. Towards the point, Clarkson keeps it in. Vigneault steers it to the point once more for Summers. Now it's played to the corner. This is a good offensive possession for the Golden Knights. Vigneault out of the corner, stolen away by Bourbonnais. He takes a hit. Vigneault stays on the puck along the line. Played to the circle. Tracking it down is Garrow. He'll work it deep. Grant has his man pinned against the boards. We're not quite 4 minutes into the second period. The Engineers with a 1-0 lead on a goal by Milos Babella. on a rebound back in the first. Tommy Grant.
Starting to look a little bit like a power play now for Clarkson. They've been holding it down in the RPI end for a good amount of time, just doing good passing and good hitting.
Christian dumps Schrader, allowing him to turn the corner around the post. It was actually Simone Bissett who got the shot away. Now a jam try, saved by Kasdorf on Garrow. Now Nanny wants to skate, has Bourbonnais with him. Lou Nanny into the offensive zone. Backhand pass right in front behind Bourbonnais, who was wrapped up on his way to the cage.
Bear in mind that Nanny and Bourbonnais were out there defending for quite some time before that. They still had some energy to try and get an on-man rush going.
Now another chance. Liljegren a shot save. Rebound put wide by the sophomore from Stockholm, as it's worked back out to neutral ice and into RPI territory. It was really a 2-on-1 there that Liljegren elected to shoot. Looked a little bit like his OT winner against Yale when he just drove the net. That time he was denied. Now here's Gillespie. Lets it run all the way down. It will not be icing as it's controlled by Tanzi. Gillespie pokes it away. Has it knocked away from him at the last moment by Pirog. And now picked up in the corner by Geiger. Geiger to center, good connection for Danello. Almost too excited, hopped right out of his skates. He has a rebound, another save by Kasdorf, 2 in a row, and just played around to the wall. Tanzi has it now, a little bit of room. He'll whip one towards goal, cleared out to center by Wilson, and the Golden Knights will have to reset there. Boucher off the stick of Danello, stolen away by Babella. On for Gillespie, into the zone. Gillespie shooting, pad save, rebound, they score! It's Milos Babella again on the rebound, and it's 2-0.
Well, with the exception of the original shot on his first goal coming from the point, it looked an awful lot like his first goal too. It was the initial shot was made by Kenny Gillespie on the glove side. I'm sorry, on the stick side of Greg Lewis. He made the initial save, but waiting right there on the follow-up on the doorstep was Milos Babella. Backhands it into the cage. That gives RPI a 2-0 lead here with 14:36 left in the second period. Beautiful finish by the senior from Slovakia.
Babella picks up his 7th of the season, his 4th even strength goal. 3 of his 7 have been shorthanded. That's still good for second in the country, as that one will skip by Rodriguez. And now Amoroso will play out of his own zone. DeHaas shoots it deep. Will it be icing? Yes, it will. 14:21. And sometimes, Tom, it's hard to hear the whistle on the ice. With 14:21 left in this period, it's tough to hear, even for the guys in the box trying to keep the clock time.
Yeah, sometimes this building, when it's full, can get loud. It's not always easy to make this building loud when it's not full, because there's lots of open space. It isn't a former Navy warehouse. So there's lots of open space. Sometimes sound can just die, but when you've got this many people in the building making noise, it can get a little loud here at the Houston Fieldhouse.
Face off at center. Engineers have it. Tommy Grant from Sparta, New Jersey, works into the zone off the stick of DeVito. Amorosa and DeVito go hard into the corner, but the puck is played neatly away by the Golden Knights, who work it to center. McGinnity, he'll ring it in. Grant, the first one to it. He takes a hit there from Dolpe. And now Fulton scraps, and it's going to be Rodriguez to muscle it out of there. Fulton chips it off the boards. The senior from Oakville, Ontario. There's a number of them on this squad, playing in his 76th game for the Engineers. Now a chance for Clarkson the other way. Dolpe stops at the point, fed towards goal. DeRiso had it for a second. He'll play it behind for McGinnity. McGinnity walking in, tight angle shot, saved Kasdorf, and he has it pinned against his chest. Just daring McGinnity to take that shot. He finally did. No Engineer closed on him.
Yeah, that was a little bit shocking to give a player with the capacity of Pat McGinnity that much space to operate that far down in your zone. It was basically just Jason Kasdorf waiting for him to take a shot, but he had that post pretty well sealed up to alleviate any concerns that the Engineer defense would have had.
Played behind the cage. It's controlled and worked to the corner. Powers to the point. Summers a shot. That one got deflected on its way through. A second effort also held by Kasdorf as Vigneault was denied on the doorstep.
The official scoring on RPI's second goal. Even strength goal at 5:24 of the second period. Milos Babella with his 7th goal of the season and 2nd of the evening. The lone assist currently credited to RPI sophomore Kenny Gillespie. That is his 2nd assist on the year.
Face off in the RPI zone. As you get another look at that close range try after the long shot from the point by Kelly Summers. Just 1 goal in the season, 8 assists for Summers. Just trying to get that one on goal to generate a rebound, just like the Engineers have picked up a couple goals here tonight. The freshman Aaron Tho with it. Freshman from Toronto, Ontario, playing his 24th game, a goal and an assist for him. This is a veteran lineup the Engineers are facing. I mentioned just the one first-year player in the lineup for Clarkson. Shot off the glass to center ice, kicked at by Grant, carried on by Vigneault, and now a 2-on-1 try. Powers into his skates. It was a poor pass by Vigneault. Another drop pass swatted away by Schrader. Not very well executed that time by the Golden Knights, who had the odd man rush. Now Schrader back the other way. On for Nanny. He had no momentum. He elects to just dump in. Schrader runs into Tansey. Played around for Bourbonnais. Slaps it back to the point. Shot coming well wide off the base of the net. And it'll be played around for Schrader. On for Bourbonnais. Riley Bourbonnais takes a look. Long saucer pass. Moore tried his best to glove it down, but couldn't. Puck out to center. Hampton has it there. Played it into the man in front of him. He'll jump on it again and just clear it to safety. Here's Geiger. Right back to the RPI zone. Wobbling puck. Moore had a bit of trouble with it, but gets it back and finds Hampton. Outlet pass tapped in by Miller, or did he? No, says Matt Luther along the near side, the linesman. And that'll be icing on RPI.
I think that was really just outside of his reach. You know, there's a little bit of discussion going on down there, but some of that could well be just some kabuki theater, just trying to get the next call. But that's just another example of one of those headman passes that RPI is just not connecting on a neutral zone. Sometimes you just got to be a little more deliberate while you're moving forward. RPI is good with the counterattack, but they're a lot better when they're making nice, crisp, controlled passes that are considerably shorter than that one, and moving forward with the speed instead of trying to hit a guy with a headman pass.
Draw in the RPI zone. Good stick lift by Orval. Allows Jake Wood to escape with the puck. He'll shoot in. Miller in the air behind the goal. Orval gets bumped. Lost the puck. Christian for Clarkson. Big collision there. Wood got most of Miller instead of the man he was trying to hit as it's played in by Bissett. Now Prapavesis, the former Toronto Patriot of the OJHL, finds Orval, who threw it off the man in front of him, then takes a whack from Pirog on the forecheck. Pirog steals it away. Pirog down low. Over to Boucher, to the center of the ice. That was Tho, and now a shot coming. Summers. Kasdorf does the splits, but the second effort never came as Danilo looks to be holding his hand there. Bouncing puck to center ice. Who's going to get there? Orval's trying to beat his man to it, but Tho had a step, and he gets there. Aaron Tho back behind. Summers escapes from Wood and then plays it up the wall. Tapped on by the Nello. In further. Kasdorf out of his net to play it up the wall for Wood. Kept in by Summers. Babella steals it away. Babella fanned on the pass. Nearly gave it away in the slot. Shot coming by Summers. Blocked by Babella. And now Magenity try. Loose puck in front, and Kasdorf gets a much-needed freeze of the puck there and a whistle.
Going to be a little more pushing and shoving out there as Jordan Boucher was getting himself mixed up a little bit with Victor Liljegren on that last sequence. Still only 3 penalties have been called in this game, and 2 of them were called at the same time on a similar dust-up, although I shouldn't say similar. I guess it ended up ballooning into a little bit more after the whistle. But really only 1 penalty called in the flow of play, and that was a slashing call against James DeHaas at 15:01 of the first period. But ever since then, just the 2 at the same time, and no power plays for either team.
Face-off, 1 back behind. The Engineers have it there. Gillespie trying to touch it out to center. It was knocked down by DeRiso. They dig away in the corner. Wilson throws a shove and a second one into Dalpe. And now it's lifted out by Gillespie. Controlled by Tansey in his own zone for Clarkson. Off the glass, center ice. Cannot be controlled there by DeRiso. Moved into the zone. Gillespie's going to get there first in the circle. Tight angle shot. Save. Rebound. Stopped by Schrader. As Lewis came well out of his crease to deny the Engineers there.
Now a good shot by Kenny Gillespie.
DeRiso
really
for
did a good
Magenity.
job setting up the one opportunity for RPI. They weren't able to capitalize on that one.
The Golden Knights get it in deep. Nanny pokes at it right in front of the bench area. And now Hampton. Nice move to spin around and backhand it for Moore. bouncing into RPI territory as it was Powers who got a stick on it. And now Amorosa settling a wobbling puck was DeHaas. Played it for Powers. He had trouble with it at the line and elects to just dump it in. Hampton. Far side, skips by Moore, right to Schrader. Engineers looking to break. Here's Bourbonnais into the zone. Bourbonnais to the circle. It's poked loose. Bourbonnais will find it.
That's a good play by Amorosa to get that one away. Good defense by the Clarkson Golden Knights.
Now Nanny trying to get away from DeHaas and Vigneault. Flips it down low for Bourbonnais. Bourbonnais turning, centering pass right out in front to Vito. Fanned on the shot. And now it's back out to center for Clarkson. Into the zone offside as that one hit the linesman along the far side. Luther, that'll get a whistle.
Sometimes it's the little things that matter when you're playing defense, and Terrence Amorosa there basically breaking up what would have been a 2-on-1 opportunity for the Engineers just by making a nice little poke check off the stick of Riley Bourbonnais. We've seen Bourbonnais be dangerous on odd man rushes this season, and in fact in this game he was able to create things just by himself, so it really can't be understated if you're a Clarkson fan how important a play like that is when you get one from one of your top defenders like Terrence Amorosa.
Shot in by Tho. Up the wall. A shot coming. Kasdorf with a stop. Rebound loose to the side of the cage. It'll be worked around by Pirog. He's tied up now by DeVito. Got his stick under his arm. And now Danello takes it away. Jeff Danello spinning away from DeVito. Trying to walk it out in front. Play to the near side. Net flies off. And we get a whistle as it was Danello who went crashing into the side of the cage with maybe a little bit of help from Jimmy DeVito.
Yep, Jimmy DeVito, who's was not playing in the first game between RPI and Clarkson as he missed the first semester, and now a little more pushing and shoving between Nick Pirog and DeVito. Clarkson may have gotten the number on DeVito, who, I agree, I think he might have been the one to assist Danello into the net there. So a little more pushing and shoving in this one, and certainly the physical play is starting to pick up as well.
We expect it to ramp up as the game goes along, as it's a 2-0 RPI lead. Summers shoots it in off the draw. Bradley around for Prapavesis, and now Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez back across for Bradley in the air to center. Bounds into the line. The Engineers are just onside. Chip back high off the glass and over the glass, not a play. One little fan has her eyes on the puck. She finds it. Is she giving it to an even younger fan? That's something else.
That's very meta. Of course, the rule around here being give it to a kid, but if you're a kid, I guess the question is, do you keep it or do you find a younger kid near you? Never really thought of it that way before, but
she couldn't have been more than 10, 12 years old, and she gave it to another younger kid.
Hey, she already knows how it works, I guess.
Face off in the Clarkson zone, bounces out to center, finding Wilson. Loose in the neutral zone. Clarkson regathers. Tansey fires in. Grant going to take a look around before playing it off the glass to center ice. Will it have enough for icing is the question. Oh, very close there. Tansey got to it. Technically, probably over the line, and that's where the referees will blow it dead.
You know, frequently when the puck is right there next to the line and you can just reach out and touch it, as Tansey did there, you're going to usually wave that one off, but the officials behind the RPI bench were dissatisfied with that call, let's just say.
Face off in the RPI zone. No one knows where the puck is. Vigneault's going to get there first. Wrapped up by Miller. Vigneault gets away to the net. Takes a hit there. As coming across was Wilson to lay the body and did just enough to steer him off course.
Vigneault seems to want to be able to maneuver the puck a little bit more than he has been able to in the attacking zone, but RPI's defense making it very difficult for Clarkson's leading scorer tonight.
Fed near side. The Engineers in the middle of the change have to be careful who touches that puck, and looks like they did so successfully as to avoid the too many men call. And now it bounds right back out to center ice. That one won't sit for anybody. Now Bobello plays it into the corner. Amorosa around to the near wall. Prapavesis pinching into the circle. Bobella. Jam try made by Gillespie. And now Bobella tries to fight for it behind the cage. 2 goals on the night for Milos Bobella, up to 7 on the year. As they dig away in the corner, Bobella still on it. being harassed there. One-timer from the slot by Liljegren. Did not catch it cleanly. Kind of fluttered in on Lewis, and he was able to glove it.
Clarkson simply has to do a better job of dispossessing the puck when Milos Bubela has it and keeping him from getting open, because he's done anything he's wanted to here in the first period and a half plus of this contest. He's got both goals for RPI, and when he has the puck in the attacking zone, he looks dangerous. And if you're Clarkson right now, that's your main threat right there, taking this face-off, Milos Bubela.
Defensive zone face-off win for the Golden Knights. Paul Geiger to center. Bradley goes cross-ice for Prapavesis. Down the middle, Liljegren into the offensive end. Victor Liljegren on the season. 3 goals, 7 assists for 10 points. Looking for a little bit more production from him. They're hoping he's saved it for the end of the year. Flipped high in the air to RPI territory. It's actually bounced right at the line. Picked up there by Boucher. Wrist shot coming. Shoulder stop by Kasdorf, who cut off the angle well. Boucher back to the point now. Geiger firing through traffic. Danello trying to backhand it in front. It's intercepted by Bubela, who shoots it straight into the crowd. Watch out. And looks like everyone's all right. We'll get a face-off coming in the RPI zone.
Now Pirog having some words with Chris Bradley. He was bumped into by Prapavesis just before that. So yet more pushing and shoving between these two sides. Now Bradley having a word with Brad LeBlanc. Maybe trying to get this thing settled down just a little bit here. RPI still holding on to the lead with 6:16 left in the second period. They're up by 2.
Face-offs currently, to keep you up to date on that number, 19-13 RPI. So Engineers defying statistical logic here in this game. This is picked up by Bubela. Clarkson, I mentioned earlier, they're 8th in the nation in face-off percentage at around 53%. RPI a tick, I believe, over 45%.
And it's worth pointing out that RPI was simply atrocious last night, so it couldn't really be anything they worked on, because it's not really much time to work on face-offs in that short of a time period.
Could be the magic of the Big Red Freakout in action here as it's flipped to the corner. Played by Moore, too far for Schrader, out to center ice. Amorosa just off the bench for Clarkson. He'll control it there. Tho up the wall, tapped in by Garrow. Moore takes his man to the boards, that being Doriso. 5:23 to play in the second period. McGannity, watched by Schrader. He looks to cycle. Doriso lets it run. Hampton puts him hard into the wall. That one hit the referee on the far side. Bourbonnais taps it out to center. Pass to DeHaas, but a good read on the play will allow Dolpe to control for Clarkson. Back for DeHaas to restart things. That one hops off the stick of McGannity. Race for the puck, and Bourbonnais is going to get there first, although he's met by DeHaas. One-timer coming. Nanny fired it over the top of the net. Grant keeps it in at the point. Picked up in the corner by DeHaas, and now a chance to settle things down once more. It's Amorosa. Amorosa down the middle for Dolpe. Got a stick on it, and does enough to negate the icing as it's played by Grant ahead for Miller. Skips by him, given right back to Miller for a second by Geiger, but he couldn't control. Tansey off the boards, high in the air to center. Gloved and settled down by Wilson, who plays it for DeVito. Geiger in the corner. Avoids the hit from DeVito. And now it's in the air and out of play. We'll have a stoppage.
RPI's offense just looks a lot more fluid than it has in the last two games, where they were held scoreless. And a lot of their problems in those last two games kind of revolved around having a top-notch netminder that they've had to shoot on. But things like fluidity in the attacking zone has nothing to do with who you're facing in net. That's something that's just an improvement for the Engineers, is possessing the puck well in the attacking zone, getting some nice shots. And if you do that, you end up having opportunities just kind of create. You see pucks bounce into open ice spots where you're the first one to them. You see opportunities where you have chances to score where they just didn't happen in the last couple of games.
Starting to happen here. Two of them off rebounds, both falling to Milos Bubela, who made no doubt about either. Here is A.J. Fawson at center ice, turning and firing it off the skate of Vigneault, who tracks it down in the circle. Vigneault trying to walk around Prapavesis. The prototypical power forward is Vigneault. The Engineers have done a pretty good job with him so far. Out to center come the Engineers. It's Miller on for Wood. Cross-ice feed just out of the reach of Prapavesis, who may have been slowing up a bit on his way in deep, as the defenseman may be aware of his defensive responsibility there.
And that might have been just a little bit too cute for RPI. They need to stick with what's working. It's just possessing the puck in the attacking zone and cycling well.
Gillespie flips it in. Breaking his stick in half was Tansey. Gillespie trying to jump on it, and it's played out to center. Tansey still without a stick as Grant fires in. Around to the wall, cleared to center. Waiting to play the puck there and moving it in. Close to a too many men call. Boucher walking in, save Kasdorf, and the rebound picked up by Grant. And now finds Gillespie. There's a minor breakdown there for RPI, allowed a chance for the Golden Knights. No, Gillespie half fanned on that backhand try. Moved to center by Pirog. Taking a tumble at center was Boucher, who now is offside, and the Golden Knights have to wait for him. Pirog on for Tho. From the point, deflects wide. Right back out in front, Kasdorf will pounce on it and cover.
Sometimes you've seen netminders pouncing on pucks that look kind of innocuous, loving shots that are clearly going wide, but in a situation like that, you don't want to take any chances with who's going to be on the receiving end of that. Bear in mind that when you're a netminder, that mask obscures a good chunk of your lateral vision. I mean, you just can't see side to side real well. So when you're watching that puck squirt towards you, you just cover that up quick because you don't know if it's one of your guys or one of the other guys is waiting on the other side of that.
Draw here to the right of Kasdorf. RPI with that 2-0 lead. They'd love to take it, or maybe more, to the third with a little over 3 to play here in the second. Bradley steering away from the forechecker before taking a hit. He got away from Christian, but not the second man, Garrow. Turning with it now is Bissett for Clarkson. On for Christian. Centering pass and a stop by Kasdorf. Here's Bourbonnais now. Works it, kept knocked away by Garrow. I beg your pardon. Now Bradley. Prapavesis in the corner. No, Bissett has it. And he's wrapped up by Prapavesis. Stolen away by DeVito. He finds Bradley and a chance to look up ice at least. Off the glass and hard and out. A little bit too hard. And that will be icing on RPI.
And we haven't seen an awful lot of that fourth line for Clarkson tonight. Dylan Garrow, Todd Christian, and Simon Bissett. But I've been impressed with them when they've been out there, and especially with the play of Dylan Garrow, the sophomore out of Richmond, Ontario. He's been a really strong defensive forward for the Golden Knights here this evening, and right there we saw a little bit more of his offensive flair as well. So Clarkson rolling with 4 pretty solid forward lines here this evening.
Clarkson with an 18-14 edge in shots on goal, as it'll be Riley Bourbonnais to play it in. Here's Geiger. Center ice connection. DeRiso into the RPI zone, showing off a bit of speed there, but he ran out of ice to work with and ran right into the corner. Now McGinnity. Good stick lift by Schrader. Stolen away, and the Engineers have it. It's Hampton. Indirect off the board for Orval. Saw the hit coming from Tansey. Wasn't able to clear the zone, but Fulton helps out. Wilson chipping up the board softly. Geiger picks it up. Schrader was offside, but it won't matter, as the Engineers are on the puck back out at center ice. Avoiding the check there was Orval. Had it knocked away from him. That's that long reach of Paul Geiger. 6'3", 214 is Geiger, and he knocked it away from the smaller Orval. As Fulton overskates in the corner. Here's Vigneault in deep. Have to be aware here. Centering pass out in front. Knocked away by Schrader, and Prapavesis will hop on this loose puck and move it on out himself. Prapavesis dumping in. Fulton has it played in front. Schrader a try. He gloved it down, but he didn't catch it cleanly, and then went off the side of the cage. Clearing effort kept in by Grant. Knocked out of the air at the wall by Fossen, but the Engineers work it in deeper. There's another loose stick out there. Not sure whose it is. Orval taken over, and out comes Powers. 1-on-2 to the circle. Tight angle shot. Kasdorf has it inside his blocker. He'll flip it to the glove and hold on. We'll have a stoppage in play. 1:02 left in the second period.
That was a perfectly defended 1-on-2. Basically just kept the Golden Knights there from having really any opportunity to move the puck and create something down in the attacking zone. And when you've got numbers like that, you want to just make sure you've got all of your lines covered, and that was ultimately an easy save for Kasdorf because of the work of his defenders in front.
1 minute left in the second period as Amorosa has it for the Golden Knights. Big hit behind the goal, but he left the puck for DeHaas. Fired all the way down. This will be icing on Clarkson, and we'll have a stoppage with 47.7 to go.
Well, Milos Rubelis doing pretty much everything tonight. He's scored both goals. He's getting good opportunities. And there we saw him throwing his weight around behind the Clarkson net. He's been, as I've said, a one-man wrecking crew. Here he comes in to take faceoffs, and that's another thing that the Engineers are doing well tonight is winning faceoffs.
Babella on the season, a little over 48% in the circle. That number's been pretty steady all year. Call that one a wash as it's played to the slot. DeHaas is going to have a chance to move it out for Danilo. Stopped up right at the line. Miller forces it back in. Right back to DeHaas, who finds Amorosa. Maybe one more rush here for Clarkson with 30 seconds to go in the period. It's played deep. Krapovessis now on for Bradley. Taking a look around. Chris Bradley high off the glass. Bouncing puck to the line. Miller takes a hit there from Tansey. Trying to find the puck. Wood in front for Babella. Lost it in his skates as the fans' eyes lit up there for a second, but Milos couldn't find the puck between his skates there as it's played to the corner, swatted away by Bradley. Loose in the slot. DeRiso fires wide with one, and that will do it for the period. Perry DeRiso with a chance from just seconds in the period, and now we have
additional truculence, perhaps?
A little bit.
This has been boiling over pretty much all period, and a big hit right at the end of the, right as the horn sounded. That's definitely a recipe for having everyone on the ice rush your position. I didn't see exactly which two skaters were the ones that hit, but
Danilo's in there.
Danilo is right down in there, and that's Jake Wood, who we've seen in the past has been willing to, well, let's just say
he'll mix it up,
mix things up a little bit. Certainly not nearly as much this year, which has helped his game an awful lot. He's kind of backed away from his kind of tough guy attitude that he's had the first couple of years, and he's really kind of developed for RPI as an attacking forward this year. But as you can see, still a mean streak in the junior out of Georgetown, Ontario.
Yeah, and I'm sure he, among others, benefit from the lesser penalties being called throughout ECAC hockey, as he gets to be a little more physical and not go to the box for it. Tom, exciting period. Engineers are actually down in shots 2014. That's 16 shots in the period for Clarkson. Again, turned all away by Jason Kasdorf, who continues to play well.
And the good news for RPI is that there haven't been really an awful lot of quality opportunities. That's been the key, is that Jason Kasdorf is seeing pucks, he's turning them aside, he hasn't really had to stand on his head, and that bodes well for RPI.
We will send it down to Melanie Napoleon with Zach Schrader, who is rinkside.
I'm here with Zach Schrader, and how does it feel to be having one of your last seasons be one of your personal best and a team best?
It's great. You know, I'm a fifth-year senior, and to get one extra chance to do it right, you know, it's great. We're doing great as a team. You know, we feed off each other's energy, feed off each other's success, and this year's going well.
All right, thank you so much.
Hey, Jason, it's been a while. I think you should save.
That's a great idea.
What a fantastic save by Jason Kasdorf. The RPI goaltender is on top of his game tonight. I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. Here's a look at what we have in this second period as RPI picks up one goal in the period, a couple goals in the period. As we see Milos falling down there. Here's the goal. Gillespie takes the shot, Tom, and again, Babella there for the rebound.
I think a really big part of what made this successful, just a couple of minutes earlier, we saw a shot by Victor Liljegren that basically bounced right back to Liljegren, and Lewis was basically right in the same position he had been in. In that case, the puck bounced out instead of forward, and it was just too easy for Milos Babella to bury it for his second of the night.
Engineers picking up loose pucks. That time it was looked like Nanny there with an opportunity. And RPI creating chances in that period to help add to this lead as some extended looks at a replay here.
really what we're seeing, and this was indicative of everything that we saw during the second period. The Engineers spent a really solid amount of time in the attacking zone. When you've got a lead, sometimes that's good enough. That's just as good as playing good defense. Now they've got a 2-0 lead heading into the final 20 minutes of the game, and as we mentioned at the end of the period, Clarkson just hasn't had an awful lot of really quality scoring opportunities, and that's made things a lot easier on Jason Kasdorf.
Quick scoring recap for everybody. Milos Babella got the scoring started at 14-16. The first period is 6th of the year from Chris Bradley and Riley Bourbonnais. And then the second goal, which came at 5:24 of the second, the one you just saw moments ago, was Babella's 7th from Kenny Gillespie picking up the one assist. Both of those coming off of rebounds, and something that the Engineers were looking to do last night. Weren't able to against Hayton, but are now tonight against Lewis. Here between periods, Marcus Flower. Marcus, thanks so much for coming up here and joining us during the Big Red Freakout.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It's the best part about being at RPI is the spirit of the hockey games. I mean, who wouldn't come out to this? I'm sorry. Hello, RPI. How's it going today?
Anyway, Marcus, as the GM, what do you do here for people who don't know?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a pretty simple explanation. The GM is the president of the student body. I run the student senate, which is a branch of student government. But overall, a lot of it comes down to really bringing the spirit and cheer to RPI that everybody really comes to appreciate through events like Big Red Freakout, being able to get students excited about the things that make it fun to attend Rensselaer.
So for you, an event like the Big Red Freakout has to be big for you and everyone involved with the Student Senate.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I've seen about half of the Student Senate here already. The only reason I haven't found the rest is because we're all in a big crowd of red supporting the team and knowing that we're going to beat Clarkson tonight.
Absolutely. The hat, you have to explain the hat to those who don't know, because it's not just any ordinary hat.
Okay, all right. So this hat, it started out as kind of a joke with a couple of people way back when one of the GMs was elected, and somebody said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you got a big top hat to wear? And so he got one, and naturally the next guy said, I want one too. That wouldn't be fair. So they kept going, and now I have my own.
So what are some other events some other things that you guys have going on throughout the year?
Other things we have going on throughout the year, we have a Student Senate survey that we fill out every year, so that way we can get information on what students are doing on campus, what they want to see, and really helps to justify all the things that we do. We already have events every year we go out, we do security walks around the camp. We have obviously GM Week where we have a huge election, get all the students involved with various clubs, but really it's about making sure the students understand what's important to them at RPI and how they can protect it and make sure it's there for future students.
That sounds great. Marcus, thanks so much for joining us between periods. We'll be back with more from the Houston Fieldhouse in the 39th Big Red Freakout.
Thank you.
Why not change the world?
Respond to a society and its needs, and Rensselaer has that commitment.
We do research not because it's easy to do.
Use the combination of science and engineering to address some of the important problems in healthcare and in environment.
Data science and data analytics, high-performance computing, and the very technologies that connect us.
You can change the world. Like you are at Rensselaer. That's what you're here to do.
Witness the speed and power of elite student athletes on display. A trip to the NCAA Men's Frozen Four is at stake, but first they must earn a regional crown. It all comes down to this moment, and the winner advances to the Frozen Four. Be there to share the experience with your family and friends. The 2016 NCAA Division I Men's Ice Hockey East Regional, March 26 and 27 at the Times Union Center in Albany, New York. Visit ncaa.com/Frozen4 to secure your tickets today.
as we get a chance to look at the stats from the first 2 periods of play. The Engineers holding on to a 2-0 lead. And Tom, here we are with them in front of you.
You know, looking at the shots on goal and just gauging the way this game has gone, you wouldn't expect Clarkson to have a lead in shots, but they do. But as I've been mentioning, they're not really quality shots. That's just the thing. And you look at the block shots, especially. That's been a touchstone for RPI this season. 10 block shots in the first 2 periods. That's going a long way to helping Jason Kasdorf keep them all out of the net.
Absolutely. A little bit of a heavy shot total, as I mentioned, going to break there, and that's second intermission there. But 16 shots in the second. Kasdorf was able to keep them all out. Very crucial, of course, this final period. We talked about it during the second, but the second and third periods have been a little bit of trouble. It's the 2 periods that the Engineers are being outscored this season in total. But they've done a decent job keeping leads after 2.
Well, let's just say that the second period was solid for RPI. They can put together another solid period like that in the third period. I don't think they'll have much of a problem, but bear in mind this is a Clarkson team that they don't know when to quit. So it'll certainly be an exciting 20 minutes for the sold-out crowd here at the Houston Fieldhouse.
Numbers certainly in their favor. The Engineers, when scoring first this year, 11-1-4. And when they have the lead after 2, RPI is 12-3-2 on the season. As we have a look at the ECAC hockey standings, the Engineers currently in 4th, but you can see a lot of teams not separated by too many points here, Tom.
Yeah, and just taking a quick look around the ECAC as well, Yale has a lead on Harvard, 2-1 early in the third period, so those are the 2 teams directly ahead of RPI. One of those teams is going to give up points, potentially both of them if they do tie, so RPI putting themselves in a good position here to stay up in that top 4 should they emerge victorious here this evening, especially if Harvard's able to complete a comeback against the Bulldogs.
Not too many games left in this regular season for RPI. They're home again for another weekend in a couple weeks, but some exciting hockey left to be played, including here tonight. Always fun to have the Houston Fieldhouse as we get a wide look at the crowd. This is a great look. I actually love this shot with the banners, and you can see everyone on either side. It's a beautiful arena, and especially when it's this full.
Sometimes you don't see the stands this full during play. Bear in mind that plenty of people are up and out, and it's not really this is a big building. It's hard to fill this building with regularity, especially when you consider in this day and age all the other options that fans have to take their attention elsewhere, whether you're a student or a member of the larger community. Frequently there's just something else that you're interested in doing on Friday or Saturday, but this is a Big Red Freakout. If you're an RPI fan or even a casual fan, if you're an alum, you want to come back for one game, this is always the game that ends up getting targeted, and for that reason, we always see a big crowd, which, when the Engineers are playing well, certainly helps them to maintain some momentum. This crowd has been loud from the beginning of the game. You can't expect them to stay up for 60 full minutes of a hockey contest, but by and large, they've done a good job.
I'd like to remind everyone to visit rpitv.org/donate to show your support for the student organization. They do a lot of great things, including bringing webcasts like this to you. Also webcasts of other events all over campus, not just sports here at RPI, and they do such a good job. There is the website for that. Speaking on attendance, Tom, Engineers are consistently battling up there with Cornell for the top average attendance spot in ECAC hockey. The number announced 4,716 fans was announced to sell out back on Tuesday of this week. And as you can expect, the Engineers in the top 20 nationally, drawing some extra attention to an already very festive and very elaborate Big Red Freakout game.
Absolutely. I mean, the Engineers are fortunate to have fans that come out on a regular basis, even when it's not a big game. It's perhaps Brown is in town, and it's just Brown. It's not the Freakout. See Brown every year, but there's still always, a minimum of 3,200 fans filling the seats here at the Fieldhouse for games like that, and that's something that, when you talk to alums, that's something that they remember, is that the fan support that they got while they were here was tremendous.
Absolutely, Tom. We will be back here at the Houston Fieldhouse in just a moment, where we will have Dr. Ross, the Vice President of Student Life, have a quick chat in our second intermission. Once again, your score after 2 periods of play is RPI 2 and Clarkson nothing. You're watching RPI Hockey on RPI TV.
You ready, Lou?
Yep.
Let's go.
Joined here by Dr. Frank Ross, the VP of Student Life here at RPI, and haven't been here for too long. What do you see as some of your goals here for the student life as a whole?
Sure. So thanks for having me tonight.
Absolutely.
It's been a real exciting game. I'm really happy to be here. So I'm really fortunate to be the new VP for Student Life at RPI. I've been here just over 6 months, and so right now I'm spending a lot of time meeting students, working with student groups, and really finding out what our students want, what they need. But my job is to make sure we provide a high-quality student experience, and that's what I'm doing.
Absolutely, and this being, of course, your first Freakout, you get to see firsthand what student organizations like RPI TV are able to put on here. And what are your first impressions of first that, and then the spectacle we have behind us?
Well, it's amazing. So most of my career has actually been in the Midwest. I did some time in the South, so in that region you have a lot of football, a lot of basketball. So hockey is new to me, so this is pretty exciting.
It's pretty exciting, and probably the same kind of excitement that the show for the big football games down there. This gets pretty exciting and gets loud because we're in such a kind of contained area, I'm sure. And for you, you've previously worked, obviously, those other places. What kind of stuff, what kind of experiences from those other schools can you bring here to RPI?
Sure. So, I've been really fortunate that the last 21 years I've had an opportunity to work with students at a variety of institutional types, private, liberal arts colleges, large research universities, and I think what's been really great about that is the opportunity to work with students, work with student leaders, and develop new initiatives on campus to help our students be successful. So that's what I'm bringing to RPI, and that's what I like to do.
I have to ask you, have there been any other experiences at games like this? Does anything come close to Freakout? Maybe a little bit?
Nothing comes close. No, this is pretty amazing.
We like to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, well, Dr. Frank Ross, thanks very much for joining us between periods.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with more from the Houston Fieldhouse.
Go Engineers.
Go Engineers in just a few minutes here, watching the 39th Big Red Freakout on RPI TV.
Why not change the world?
Respond to a society and its needs, and Rensselaer has that commitment.
We do research not because it's easy to do. Use the combination of science and engineering to address some of the important problems in healthcare and in environment.
Data science and data analytics, high-performance computing, and the very technologies that connect us.
You can change the world. Like you are at Rensselaer. That's what you're here to do.
Back here at the Houston Fieldhouse, Perry Lascaris and Tom Reel, thank you so much for joining us wherever you are across the country, maybe across the world. If you're watching this one, maybe very late at night. I'm not sure where.
Early in the morning.
Or early in the morning.
Yeah,
wherever the case may be, we very much thank you for checking out RPI Hockey here in the Big Red Freakout. You must be a really big fan if it's early in the morning or late at night to be watching this one.
You never know. RPI's got alums all over the world. Clarkson has alums all over the world, and we thank all the Clarkson fans watching tonight as well. We hope that our broadcast has been even as we can make it.
Trying. And Clarkson, of course, a technical school as well, up in the North Country, a well-established rival back from when it was Clarkson Tech. Anyway, Tom, moving on to tonight, a 2-0 lead for RPI headed to the third period. What do each team have to do to be successful here?
Well, understand that there's a reason why they call the 2-goal lead the worst lead in hockey. It's because all Clarkson really needs is to get one past Jason Kasdorf. It can be a nice play, it can be a fluke goal, but if they get the next goal in this game, suddenly the pressure is all on RPI to keep that one-goal advantage in place, and the momentum will all be with the Clarkson Golden Knights. So if Clarkson has a little bit of gumption, they got to show it early in this third period in order to maybe put RPI back on their heels a little bit, deflate this crowd that's here to hopefully see an Engineers victory. At least that's what most of them here are expecting and hoping, especially at this point. They really have to just seize the day and be the one to get that next goal.
You talk to any RPI player, they are very confident playing in front of Jason Kasdorf. He has them out to a 2-0 lead to look to hold on to it here. Tom, is that what you see as well?
Absolutely. Good defense is the touchstone.
We will send it away for a second. Be back with the third period. You're watching RPI Hockey. Back here live at the Houston Fieldhouse, 20 minutes to go here in regulation time. The Engineers leading the Clarkson Golden Knights 2-0. The 14th ranked RPI squad, 15th in the USA Hockey Magazine poll, which only ranks 15 teams. Haven't been there since 2013. Mostly things just for the media. What really matters is the pairwise, where the Engineers are looking to keep pace and stay inside that top 16 and realistically inside the top 13 or 12 if they want a shot in at-large bid.
Yeah, where they are right now, they're in 15th coming into tonight, which if the season ended today would put them out of the tournament. But they're right there on the bubble. Some good results, especially in the next few games against some top-quality opponents, and they'll be right back in the thick of things. They are what you would call a bubble team right now, but they need good results. They're on a 2-game losing streak, but they're 20 minutes away as we stand from being able to end that streak at 2 and really get themselves oriented back in the right direction.
And we have a false start on the face-off as we will do it over again. Not much in the way of penalties as we have been expecting things. Just 3 total called, just 1 power play. And it came for RPI back in the first period. We're underway in the third. Slapped into the Engineers' end. Jared Wilson takes a look around. He will play it around behind the goal. Here's Miller. Bottled up there by Doriso. And now thrown in front, deflected to the circle. It's Orval, high in the air to center. Tansey knocks it down there. Up the boards and slapped in further by Doriso. Clarkson's going to go off for their first change of the period. Wilson, indirect off the wall for Grant. Here is Tommy Grant for RPI, 2 goals and an assist on the season. He was a scratch for the early portion of the year, but he's been a staple ever since the Engineers went to 7 defensemen. And then Parker Reno, the team's top plus-minus man at +13, went down with an injury. He's still out. As it's Clarkson to center now. Good connection and a solid pass for Powers. Into the zone. Shot coming. Save Kasdorf. He does not allow a rebound.
Well, that's exactly what Clarkson wants to do. Just get shots on net. That's the key to getting themselves back into this game. I mean, even if it's not a high-quality, high-percentage shot, that one probably wasn't, but you just never know when you're going to unleash one that the goaltender's not ready for, that he's going to bobble or maybe misplay a little bit, give up that rebound. That's how RPI scored their 2 goals in this one. That's pretty much how Clarkson's going to need to get one past Kasdorf tonight.
Draw here. One back and a shot coming in front. Where is it? It's covered by Kasdorf right along the goal line. The net comes off, and that was a scary play for the Engineers.
Yeah, especially if you're having flashbacks back to the game in Potsdam where Jason Kasdorf got hurt. And to be very honest, Clarkson's a team that crashed the net well, too. So if you want, that's another opportunity to score goals, is just crash the net. Make your own rebound, basically. Force the netminder to get out of his comfort zone. And really, they did a pretty good job of it right there.
Face off here. Engineers push it back behind the goal. Wraparound tried. Pirog threw it through the crease. And it comes free to the near side where Bourbonnais clears to safety. Bouncing puck. Amoroso trying to get there, but the speedy Lou Nanny is on his tail. He throws a hit into him. Nearly stole the puck away, but Amoroso's back on it. He gets dumped by Bourbonnais. Now Nanny in front. Bourbonnais couldn't control the pass, and it trickles to the corner. Good vision there by Lou Nanny to find Bourbonnais. He just couldn't quite corral it. Now Bourbonnais again has it knocked away by DeHaas. Babella off the wall, stolen away. DeHaas will flip it in the air, and now here's Moore. Here's Moore up the boards for Bourbonnais, stolen away by Danilo. Cross-ice feed finds Doriso. Into the RPI zone, he'll chip it in. Doriso runs into the back wall, being watched there by a couple Engineers. Finally stolen away by Hampton. He takes a hit from Doriso, or make it Dalpe rather. To the point, shot coming, swatted right away, right back to Summers. Puck deflects to the corner. As I don't know if Kasdorf knew where that one went. In the end, it missed the net by a fine margin. Now, Liljegren had it knocked away. Here's Mears Moore. He gets double teamed, lost the puck, trying to find it again. It's picked up by Babella. Has both goals in this game from Milos Babella. As Hampton's going to try and slam this one out. Stays in the zone. And it's going to be McGennity looking for the wraparound. Pad save as Kasdorf got that left leg to the post. And we get a whistle as that one's up in the netting. But right now, Tom, it's all Clarkson.
Yeah, business has certainly picked up on the RPI end of the net of the ice. Clarkson's pushing for that first goal tonight, and the physical play has certainly picked up as well. Saw a big hit by Riley Bourbonan, Terrence Amorosa. And Mears Moore was just double teamed there. He's not very tall, much stature to him. So Clarkson's picking up their hitting attack as well.
Puck to center ice. Vigneault had it knocked away. And now here is DeVito. Back for Jared Wilson. Wilson down the middle, tipped in deep by Miller. Can't get his stick on it. That was Lewis trying to help it to the corner. Goes there anyway. And now DeVito again. Cycling for Wood. Wood to the slot. Miller, shot coming. That one was blocked nicely by Powers, who got in front of it. And now Wood once more. To the point, Wilson. Kind of didn't know what to do with it. Half fanned on that shot, but got it towards the goal. Now back comes Vigneault. Shot and a save by Kasdorf with a stick. Cycling there is Garrow. Behind the net, and now it was DeHaas, but it knocked away by Wood. And it's out to center. Wood skates through a stick check, but can't find the puck as Amoroso tracks it down. Clarkson changing along the far side. Pravavessa steals it away. Has Bourbonet moving in with Nanny going to the net. He can't get his stick on it. Nanny hard to the goal as he went down. I think he was just reaching for the puck, and I believe that's what they're going to say.
Yeah, it was kind of towing the line there for Nick Pirog, who was basically behind Nanny as he was crashing for that. I don't know if he was looking for a pass or expecting a redirect. It ended up being a pass, but he wasn't able to connect on that, and Nanny ended up going crashing into the boards. Like I was saying, Pirog just behind the play, but does a good job of kind of blurring that line between just making a good back check and really getting in the way for what could have been an interference call.
Face-off coming up here, approaching 4 minutes into the third period. Pirog cross-ice feed, a little too hot to handle for Boucher. And now here's Bradley for RPI. He'll shoot it in. Amorosa's going to try and find it along the far wall. Gave it right away to Schrader. His shot was blocked down. It trickled between the hash marks there, but Clarkson's able to clear to center. Right back into the zone. The Engineers touch up, but it's Amorosa to control for Clarkson. Indirect to the near side and shot up the boards by DeHaas. Into the zone, Danilo. Drop pass, Pirog. He's all tied up by Bourbonet. Couldn't get anything away. Now a centering pass, nearly picked off by Orval. Puck comes all the way through. Bourbonet will have it for RPI. Back to the Clarkson end. Trying to glove it down there was Christian. It'll be played by Tho. Now Kelly Summers will start the breakout for the Golden Knights. Shots are 24-14 Clarkson here. As it's going to be Wilson out of the corner, finding Grant. And now Orval chips it nicely up the boards for Bubella. Stick handling through center on for Liljegren. Liljegren forced offside. He'll need to touch up. And the Engineers are still offside. They'll have to circle back. Doesn't matter. Clarkson has it anyway. Here's Foe. Stick handling. Steps past the hit of Liljegren. Liljegren got a piece of him, and he's going to get a kneeing call here, I believe, as the puck is touched. No, it's going to be a trip. Call it what you like. It's going to be the first Clarkson power play of the game.
Yeah, this one I'm not too sure of. There was definitely an up and a chance to avoid that hit, and that's what was going on there when the Clarkson player went flying across the ice. I don't think there was an awful lot of contact, but the trailing referee made this call. So based on his viewpoint, it could have very well looked like a big trip at center ice. But it is Victor Liljegren going off for tripping. We will see Clarkson going to the power play for the first time this evening. And an opportunity to see RPI's penalty kill, which has been pretty strong this season. It's 85.1% on the year.
Engineers on the kill, as Tom mentioned, the 86 for 80, or 86 for 81 would be something. 86 for 101, that's good for fourth in the country. The Clarkson power play, 19.1% is fifth in ECAC hockey. I'd meant to say ECAC hockey for RPI as well, fourth in the conference. DeVito trying to chop it out of the zone. He can't clear. Kept in along the boards by Garrow. Here's Vigneault at the point. Trying to work it around DeVito. Back to top for Geiger. Here's Tansey. Caught it in his skates. Lost the puck. Schrader wants to go. Here comes Zach Schrader. Shorthanded. 1-on-2. into the zone. A backhand shot and a save, and Schrader goes careening into the goal. I believe he got his feet tangled with Geiger there.
Well, good individual effort, at least by Zach Schrader, who came into the zone all by himself while his teammates were changing behind the play, and RPI is going to get a attacking zone face-off out of it during this penalty kill. So added pep in their step for the penalty kill, which is looking fairly good so far. I believe you're right. He did seem to get tangled up with Geiger as he went careening into the side of the net.
Face-off here. You can maybe pick out a bit of the Clarkson pet band in green and gold stripes in the corner. We have a face-off in the Clarkson zone. Danello and Miller to take the draw, and Golden Knights are going to get tossed here from the circle by our linesman here, Christopher Petey. Clarkson wins it anyway. Here's Amorosa. Rung into the zone and actually takes a deflection. Kasdorf thought about playing it with a stick, but left it for Wilson smartly, and the sophomore defenseman clears it all the way down on the backhand. Draws now 26-18 in favor of RPI. Can't explain it, but RPI doing a solid job in the circle this evening. DeVito takes a bump from behind by McGinnity. Babella trying to clear, knocked out of the air by DeHalls, but right to DeVito. Gets some help from Prapavesis to shoot it all the way down.
30 seconds left on the power play, and RPI's penalty kill looking as strong as we're used to seeing it this season.
Outlet pass. Garrow has it tipped away, but he'll try and track it down in the corner. Bradley pushes it on for DeVito. Outlet pass to Schrader, shorthanded for another 15 seconds. Kevin Tanzio played up the wall for Powers, but it never got to him. Schrader steals it away and just chips it in. That should do it for the power play, as Clarkson is about to go 0 for 1 on the man advantage. And now they are 5 aside here with 12:42 left in the third period. Engineers still with a 2-0 lead. Nanny near side for Bourbonnais. Good pass, a little bit of room for him. Bourbonnais in, shot and a glove save made by Lewis. To the far wall. Getting dumped over there was Christian. Puck out to center. Wilson on for Liljegren, who just wallops it into the corner. Another attempt at a bandy shot there for Liljegren. It's knocked away from him, and now out to center comes Bissett. Simone Bissett all by himself will chip it into the corner. He'll get there first as well. Good hustle shown by the senior Bissett as it's finally knocked free. Lou Nanny, the sophomore from Medina, Minnesota, can't get it out of the zone. Played off the back of the net. Wilson will track it down once more. Behind for Prapavesis. Up the wall for Nanny, lets it run, kept in there at the point. Shot coming, sticked away by Kasdorf as the deflection never came. DeRiso a try, stick save, rebound McGinnity, off the post and out. A try by Summers, deflected in, off Dolpe, and it's 2-1.
Well, Clarkson gets that next goal we were talking about just before the period starts. That might have deflected in off of Dolpe's chest almost.
I think it is chest, yeah.
He didn't quite make a move towards the net, which would have made that a disallowed goal, since you're not allowed to use your body to move it towards the net. Yeah, he was just basically standing there. It bounces right off his ribcage and into the net. That's a hard one to score, but if you're Clarkson, you're certainly going to take it. That's getting one by Kasdorf on a redirection, essentially. You had no idea where that puck was until it was in the back of the net, because you're not expecting one to come off of guy's chest. And now it looks like they are going to take a look at this one. If I was a betting man on this one, I'd say they're going to let this one stand up, because
absolutely,
because Dalpe's pretty clearly not pushing the puck forward. It would not count if he was kind of directing the puck in with his body.
This play, I want to say, reminiscent of Mark Miller's goal against Quinnipiac, where he was just standing outside the crease. The puck ended up hitting him and deflecting into the goal. This is going to be a good goal here, and the Engineers are going to have to find something to try and change the way this flow of this game is going right now.
Yep, this is what Clarkson wanted. They needed to get a goal early in this one. They didn't get it too early. We still have 11:41 left, but it's early enough that they've got plenty of time to go and get that second goal. They've had nearly all of the momentum here in the third period which if you're an RPI fan, you had to be concerned that RPI is going to come out flat because they've come out flat for third periods before. Now Clarkson smells blood in the water, and they're ready to go and make this one a tie game.
Engineers have showed some resilience all season long in situations such as this. We'll see if they're able to do so again. It's a one-goal game, and we have a long way to go here in the third period. Prapavessis on for Bradley. Here's Chris Bradley scooping it in, but right into the glove of Amorosa, who tries to work it back quickly the other way. That's slowed up by a teammate, Jordan Boucher, who had other ideas. He'll turn back towards his own end. Up ahead for Pirog, poked off his stick by Bradley, shot in by Miller, who will go off on a change. Golden Knights have it here. Prime for an exciting finish at the Houston Fieldhouse is Danella moving into the RPI zone. Great poke check made by Prapavessis to get it free. Gillespie to center ice. Here's Wood with speed. Jake Wood into the zone. Shot coming. Rebound, Babella looking for number 3, and he couldn't quite knock it out of the air. Back for Grant now at center ice. Here's Wood. He just helps it into the corner. Taking a look around is Geiger. He'll track it down there. To the half boards, here's Powers. Chased by Liljegren. He'll skate back behind the net, trying to use it as a screen. Liljegren hot on his tail. Center ice connection. He found his man Garrow, but the Engineers turn it right back the other way. On for Gillespie. Wrist shot was blocked by the man in front, Geiger. They tie up there. Puck comes free to the wall. Vigneault over to pick it up. Diving play attempted by Gillespie. Vigneault gets away. Stick handling around Babella. Still Vigneault. On for Powers. Shot coming right out in front. They score. It's Summers, and we are tied at 2.
That was a great individual effort by Sam Vigneault to keep control of that puck going forward. That's what you want to see from your true power forwards. You want them to be able to bring the puck into the net or into the zone by themselves, make that work. And he ended up finding himself with plenty of open ice, plenty of options. And it's going to be Kelly Summers, the sophomore out of Golden Lake, Ontario, tying this one up for Clarkson. That's just what the doctor ordered for the Golden Knights. They have all of the momentum now here. Now they're basically taking the crowd out of it as well. It's been all Clarkson here in the third period.
Well, it don't come easy for the Engineers, and it won't tonight. We'll see if they're able to right the ship. We have a 2-2 game, and we're just halfway through the third. Prapavessis around. Schrader trying to move it out. Nice find, Nanny. On for Bradley. He'll chip it in. Nanny stays onside, dragging that back toe. Puck to the corner. Played up the wall. Doriso. He's met by Schrader. Schrader looking to keep it in. Played back for Bourbonnais. Bourbonnais walking along the wall to the circle. Stick handling down low. Riley Bourbonnais around the net. To the circle. Prapavessis holding. He'll carry to the center of the slot. He'll trade places with Bradley. Bradley, slap shot coming. Deflects wide. Loose to the side of the net. Bourbonnais had a crack at it. He'll track it down behind the cage. He's wrapped up now by Kelly Summers. Penalty coming up here. I believe is going to go on Clarkson. And the Engineers are headed back to the power play.
No, looks like this one is actually going to be going on Riley Bourbonnais.
Oh, wow.
He was called for the hit behind the net on Summers. It's going to be an elbowing call against the RPI junior. And this is not what RPI needed right now.
No.
In the slightest. It's been all Clarkson in this period. And now an elbowing call against Riley Bourbonnais is going to put them back on the penalty kill. The penalty kill looked good early in the third period, but given the amount of momentum that Clarkson has right now, certainly not an opportune time for the Engineers to go down a man.
I beg your pardon. I thought that was on the hit or on the play behind the net. It was actually maybe the retaliation from Bourbonnais. Anyway, 9:09 left in the third period and a chance for Clarkson. That shot hit the side of the net. Tansey had a little bit of room to shoot at. Kasdorf got over as quickly as he could, but didn't quite have it covered if Tansey would have found the cage there. This one's cleared out and into the bench. And a break for Clarkson as the faceoff will stay in the RPI zone. There's
Golden
a look
Knights,
at Riley Bourbonnais there.
Golden Knights scoring 2 goals in less than 2 minutes to get themselves right back into this one. It's a 2-2 game. The first one, Ben Delpe's second of the year from Kelly Summers and Pat McGennity at 8:19. And then at 9:55, Kelly Summers is 9th of the year from Aaron Tho and Sam Vigneault. That makes it 2-2.
Face-off in the RPI zone. Prapavessis trying to clear it out. Second effort gets the job done. Miller all the way down. Miller from Messina, New York. He has a solid career against both North Country teams, putting home 11 points in 20 games. They'll maybe be needing something from him late here. There's a puck that comes hard off the glass, right out in front, and Kasdorf makes the save on Powers. A fortuitous bounce for Clarkson, but Kasdorf there to make the stop.
And that's not the first time this weekend we've seen Jason Kasdorf be bewildered by the way the puck's bouncing off the boards in his own building, which doesn't really bode well. Usually you know your boards pretty well with the way the puck's going to bounce based on the way the puck's coming in past you, but that one he was a little surprised on. He was able to make the save.
Here is Danilo at the point. Down low, centering pass, fanned on. It was McGinnity in the slot, and he didn't catch any of it. It's all the way out of the zone and all the way back into the Clarkson end. Amorosa halfway through the power play. Danilo. He'll chip to the corner. Miller runs into McGinnity. Puck comes free to the point. DeHaas on for Boucher. McGinnity, goal line extended. Tried to walk away without the puck. He'll regather and find Boucher. McGinnity again. Good stick by Prapavesis to knock it free. Clarkson stays on it, however, 38 seconds to go in the power play, under 8 to go in regulation. 2-2 game as Clarkson has come back with 2 goals here in the period. Danilo down low, backhand shot just wide on the try by McGinnity. Help back to the point. Here's Danilo. One-timer coming, Amorosa, and he scores, and it's 3-2 Clarkson.
Great blast from the point there by Amorosa. That's his 4th goal of the season. I don't think that tipped anybody in front. And it's a serious turn of events here at Houston Fieldhouse, as in the span of just under 5 minutes, it's gone from a 2-0 lead for the Engineers to a 3-2 lead for Clarkson. And this is where RPI's practically their entire season can turn right here on a dime if they are unable to really dig deep and find a way to get themselves back into this game, because we've mentioned the difficulty schedule coming up for RPI and the difficulties they've had coming into this game. They've lost 2 in a row. They're staring down the barrel of 3 right now with 3 tough games against 3 nationally ranked opponents. They've got 3:34 left now to dig deep and see what's left for them in the tank here in the Freakout.
Well, they have a few more minutes than that. 7:30.
Did I say 3?
Mm-hmm.
That's my bad. 7:30. Now 7:29 remaining on the clock here. It's a healthy amount of time. It's certainly better than 3. It's a healthy amount of time, but the way this period has gone, RPI's got to find something within them to get themselves back into it.
Well, DeRiso and Wood continue their back and forth before the puck's been dropped. And they tangle up and go down. Engineers have now allowed 3 goals in each of the last 4 games they've played, winning one of them 4-3, the other 2 3-0 shutout losses. We'll see what this 4th game has in store, as now Orval gets into a stick-wielding match with Christian. Either way, it's going to be a face-off win for RPI. Left behind the goal. And as much as the Engineers have felt turmoil in this year, we'll see how they react here in this 3rd, now down a goal, as we have an icing call on RPI here, although this group just got on.
As difficult as it is for RPI to get to pull back into it, the crowd's been pretty much deflated and pulled out of this one as well. Some of the students trying to chant their way back into it, but it's not easy to, when you've watched your team drop a multi-goal lead in the span of minutes to now be trailing. It's difficult, and it's something that this RPI team banks on in the Freakout is some loud crowd noise, and they're just not getting it.
Well, maybe the fans can help them out late here. As you mentioned, still plenty of time left in this one. This one's shot all the way down again by the Engineers. Another icing call. And it's going to take the leaders on the bench, whether it be the captain, Bradley, another senior, Schrader. They've been the leadership group, if you will, talking to Coach Appert throughout the year. That's kept this team calm on the bench when they've had situations such as this.
Yeah, well, they need to do something now because RPI is looking very disjointed out there. 10-3 the shots on goal in favor of Clarkson here in the 3rd period. It's basically been all Golden Knights, and RPI's it's incumbent upon them to find a way to get out of this one.
DeHaas, a wrister, bounding through the slot, trickling in on Kasdorf. He will cover. Credit the shot for DeHaas. I believe it was blocked initially by Wood, and it made it simple for Kasdorf to throw the mid on it.
And now we're seeing from Clarkson a lot of what RPI was being successful with in the 2nd period, and that's just possessing the puck in a lot of ways is one of your best defensive efforts. 6:46 now left in regulation, and if RPI doesn't start winning more faceoffs as they were earlier in this game, they're going to be finding it difficult to come back in this one.
Knocked down at center ice by Nanny, loose puck. Bradley, he'll track it down, swept in by Bourbonnais. Amorosa, outlet pass, good connection there. Off a skate, here's Danilo. He'll slam it far side. Boucher gets cut off by Nanny, good back check by him. Schrader will flip it near side. Prapaves is trying to jump into the attack, and he will get poked away. Good play by Danilo, and now back comes Clarkson. Boucher into the zone, has a man cutting to the net. Shoulder saved by Kasdorf. It'll bound into the corner, hop off the dasher. And we're going to get a whistle. Did the puck leave the ice? I thought it stayed on, but I could be wrong. Some players are tangled up as well.
It's always a cause for stoppage as well if two players can't get separated. But we will have the face-off coming up in the RPI end, and once again, maybe a regression to the mean on face-offs here, since the Engineers were doing so well earlier in the game, and Clarkson, one of the best teams in the country on face-offs, suddenly is starting to swing in their direction, and that's coincided with a swing in momentum in this hockey game.
Draw here. One back to Hampton. He'll set things up for the Engineers. 6 minutes to go in regulation time. RPI now down a goal. Hampton up the wall. Bounces past everybody and in deep. Will it be icing? No, they wave it off early. Tansey now. Overrun by Gillespie. To the point for Wilson. Now Hampton, wrister coming, deflects wide. Wilson once more, looking to play it down low. Finds Liljegren in front, off the skate of Babella. And now played along the wall by Doriso. Some space now as Geiger pulls it off the wall. Shot all the way down, wave off the icing. They'll say it was touched by an RPI stick. Back to claim it is Wilson. Kicks it to himself, and now he'll work it down the middle. Babella turning and looking up ice. Makes a move, another knocked away. Spinning puck settled by Wilson, who shoots it in. Off the glove of DeHaas. RPI will get a full change. Shots 32-17 Golden Knights. They've scored 3 goals in the third to take a 1-goal lead. Vigneault doesn't like what he sees, spins back to his own zone. Stolen away by Orval. Flipped neatly along for DeVito. Jimmy DeVito in the corner. Over to Orval. Back towards the corner. DeVito trying to find it there. Jumping the play was Miller. Loose puck picked up by Pirog. Run through by Bradley to break things up. And now Miller back into the offensive zone. Miller to the circle. In front for DeVito. He's knocked off the puck. And now back comes Powers. On for Vigneault. Into the RPI zone all by himself. Golden Knights changing behind him. Poked away for a second by Prapavesis, and now to the corner. Boucher trying to center, bouncing puck to the corner. Prapavesis trying to get there. He's beaten to the puck by Boucher. Knocked off his stick, and now Miller. Mark Miller crossing center. He wants to get a change. Orval will chase. Summers and Orval go to the backboards. Here is Geiger. Kicked along. Danilo just shoots it in with 4:12 to go. Wilson will fire it around. Bourbonnais waits for it at the wall in front of his own bench. He'll flip it into the corner, cross ice on the dump. Nanny helps it on further for Schrader. Schrader trying to give it back to Bourbonnais, and it's picked up by Tansey, who just leaves it back for Danilo. Shot near side off the boards for Pirog. Pirog trying to find a slashing Boucher. Knocked away from him. He trips Grant, and Grant will find the puck again after the pass from Schrader. Saucer near side for Wilson rather. He'll fire it in off the backboard. Nanny over skates. McGinnity had it knocked away from him, but right onto the tape of Tansey. Kevin Tansey to center. Into the skates of Doriso. That'll force Clarkson offside, but they don't touch the puck and we play on. Around for Prapavesis. To center for Victor Liljegren. He tried to make a move on Summers, lost the puck, and he gets it back and shoots it in. Wood up the board, centering pass. Babella just couldn't get there. Poked away by Prapavesis, and now here's Amorosa for Clarkson. Some
Clarkson's
pressure.
Looking very, very good in their own zone here late.
Amorosa trying to stick handle, went down. Babella trying to get the puck back. He's hit, and the puck is shot all the way down. They'll wave off the icing. Summers up the boards, nearly gave it away, does. Wood walking in, pickpocketed, and a shot as Wood had a chance there. I believe it was Vigneault, got back on the play. This will be icing on Clarkson, but it could have been much, much worse if not for a good stick play.
Yep, Vigneault behind the play. Really, Clarkson caught in a bad line change, but the sophomore leading scorer showing off some defensive skill there with some great back checking. Keeps Wood from getting a good shot off of what would have been a golden opportunity for RPI to tie this game back up. This just goes back to what I was just saying. Clarkson looking very good in their own zone late in this one. RPI really not doing a good job of getting themselves set to create good attacks. Really, right there, they were only trying to take advantage of a blown play, but a blown play that was quickly snuffed out by some decent play by Sam Vigno. As RPI calls timeout with 2:40 left in regulation. They now trail by a goal after 3 goals in a fairly quick span. Just to recap those here in the third period, Ben Dalpe with his second of the year at 8:19 of the third period. Kelly Summers, his 9th of the year at 9:55 of the third period. Both of those goals even strength. And Terrence Amoroso with the current go-ahead goal at 12:22 of the third period on the power play. And if my math serves me correctly, it's just a hair over 4 minutes to score 3 goals. That's how quickly things can turn around when you're playing hockey. And RPI now with only 2 minutes and 40 seconds left for them to find the equalizer now and send this one potentially into overtime.
RPI look to dig deep here, as they have had the lead all game up until here in the third. 2:40 left. We'll see how quickly they are to pull Kasdorf.
Well, it's not going to matter how long they had the lead. If you don't have it at the end, that's what matters the most. And Clarkson looking far more like the team that'll have it at the end if the current trends continue.
Face-off win back for Tansey, trying to clear it out. Goes bounding down the ice, and it's well weighted. No icing here. Played around by Bradley for Prapavessis, who's being hounded by McGinnity. Turns into a puck battle in the corner. And now Bradley for RPI. On for Bourbonnais. Looking for Schrader to break. He'll just dump it in. It deadens off the Zamboni door. Shot up the boards, knocked down by Prapavessis. Spins away from McGinnity. Prapavessis turning and twisting, and now off comes Kasdorf with 2:04 to go. Next man on, Orval. Wrist shot coming, deflects wide. Nearly worked out perfectly for the Engineers as Jesper Orval was the extra skater on. He found plenty of room in the slot, but he was denied.
That's exactly what Mike Prapavessis wanted to do. He went on one of his low expeditions, killed some time, waited for the free man to come out.
Puck chipped to center. This won't be icing either, and the Engineers better be careful. A great play by Bradley to steer this one behind the goal, as it was Garrow trying to get there. Now open net to our right, and the Engineers trying to defend it with extra skaters. And now a shot from center, skips just wide. 1:28 to go. That was the game on the stick of, I believe, the defenseman DeHaas. Now here is RPI into the zone. DeHaas on it, being hounded by Bubella. 1:16 left, working it down low. DeHaas tries to clear it out far side. It's kept in by Hampton. Hampton, stick handling below the goal line. Still Phil Hampton. He looks to cycle now. DeHaas tied up by Gillespie. Trying to walk out of there was Bubella. It's cleared all the way down. Rolling puck, turning towards the net. It will be a goal! Oh my! That was from the corner. I believe they're surrounding Vigneault. It's an empty net goal for Clarkson, and the oddest you'll ever see. The puck was on edge, and it turned a full maybe 45 degrees from where it was headed.
Yeah, that didn't look like it was going anywhere near the net as it was crossing through the neutral zone, and maybe just some hit, just a patch of ice. You know, the ice is all roughed up by now, and just a good try there by the RPI defenseman Hampton, who was pretty much all over the ice at that point. Just bad luck if you're RPI right there, and that's going to pretty much seal this one up for Clarkson as they get the empty net goal in the final minute of play. It's 4-2 Golden Knights, and give all the credit to them. They certainly didn't quit. They dug deep. They got the goals they needed. They caught RPI napping, and they took perfect advantage of it to come out of here with a victory here tonight. A big win for Clarkson. They've been on a roll lately. Their roll continues, and for RPI, they're going to be scratching their heads and wondering what happened in this one.
Engineers keep Kasdorf pulled. 6 skaters out there with 45 seconds to go. Mike Prapavessis on for Wood. He'll fire one on goal. Rebound sits there, and the Golden Knights clear it out to center ice. Bouncing puck at center. Helped on by Liljegren. 30 seconds left here. Liljegren into the zone. Poked free by Pirog, and RPI will have to restart. Shot in by Wood. Engineers needed to hold the line. That's why they're late to get to the puck. It's shot off the glass and off the RPI man on the bench. That was DeVito. So we're going to have a face-off in the Clarkson zone. 16.8 seconds remaining.
Yep, at the end of the day, RPI's third period just was not good enough. We warned about that early in the game. We warned about that coming into the third period. But I really can't say enough good things about Clarkson here in the third period. They looked very hungry. Sometimes you get down, you get later into the third period, and you're still looking for that first goal. Sometimes it's not easy to keep that pressure on, but the Golden Knights knew they had something good going early in the third period. They kept it up, and they were eventually rewarded for their hard play.
Nania's shot goes wide, 11 seconds to go. Prabhavas is turning and wheeling towards goal. Put off the side of the cage there by Schrader. To the point for Bradley. His shot ramps up a stick and into the netting, and we'll have a stoppage, 2.5 left. And it looks very clearly now like the Golden Knights are going to hold on here 4-2.
Give the Engineers a little bit of credit for continuing to work hard here, but it's going to be too little too late, because the first really 15 minutes or so of the third period just weren't up to standards. They really needed to be a little bit more on loose pucks and winning faceoffs and winning opportunities in the corner. And the team that did that in the third period is the one that gets the victory here tonight. It's the Clarkson Golden Knights with the 4-2 victory.
Disappointing here for RPI. You can look at the first 2 periods and the things that went right for the Engineers. They played good defense, cleared rebounds, and scored off timely chances they had, scored off rebounds themselves at the net front, an area they pride themselves on. But it was Clarkson coming back. They got a net front goal on a deflection, and then a couple of slap shots off rebounds and through screens. The empty net goal makes it 4-2, and Tom, RPI will have some searching to do as they head to their final 6 regular season games.
Yeah, it's really a season on the brink now for RPI. It's do or die now, and they've got some tough ones coming.
Mason Kasdorf. Yeah, absolutely. As we have the team shake hands, as is a custom here. Shots were 33-19 in favor of Clarkson. When it was all said and done, the Engineers do win the face-off battle this evening, 34-26. As power plays, RPI was 0 for 1. The Golden Knights 1 for 2. As a couple power play shots for the Golden Knights, one of them ended up going in. It was a big power play goal for Clarkson.
Yeah, I mean, it was crucial. They needed that. They needed to get that next goal, because RPI, they were shell shocked coming into that power play. They weren't able to get out of it.
We're going to send it down to Mel Deporian, who is with RPI head coach Seth Appert.
I'm here with Coach Seth Appert. How would you compare your first freakout against Clarkson to those of freakouts past?
Yeah, I mean, it's a special night. Obviously, we didn't like our third period, so it's tough to take. It's a special night for with everybody back, and it's really unique to play here. And we're very fortunate and very grateful to have the kind of support we have.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Live here, that was RPI head coach Seth Appert with Mel. Thanks, Mel, down there between the glass here at the Houston Fieldhouse. And Tom, a tough game for the Engineers to take here. Things were going so well. They're playing their way, their game plan was working, and then the third period hit, and things started to go wrong.
There's plenty of soul searching to be done down there. They're on a 3-game losing streak. They really needed a fortuitous turn of events back in. They needed a fortuitous turn of events back last weekend against Brown, too. So you really kind of go back out to the whole picture here in the last 2 weeks. It's been a rough go of things for the Engineers. And honestly, it's gut check time. There's 6 games left in the season. They've got to find defensively. They've had long stretches where they're doing good things, but they need to put together a solid 60 minutes of going back on track. Defensively, often and find a way to pull themselves out of this tailspin.
Absolutely, Tom. And go back to the Mayor's Cup. Things seemingly turning in RPI's favor. But the next 2 weeks, not so much for RPI. But still time to right the ship before the ECAC hockey tournament starts.
Yeah, really, even in the Mayor's Cup game, there were certain things that the RPI looked a little bit disjointed with, maybe a little bit of a foreshadow of difficulties to come. Now the schedule gets pretty difficult. They've got 2 nationally ranked teams next weekend on the road in Harvard and Dartmouth. Then they have the #1 team in the country right now, Quinnipiac, a team they played pretty well against down in Hamden. But anytime you welcome the #1 team in the country into your home ice, you know it's going to be a difficult game. These next 3 games are going to be pretty difficult, and they're already riding a 3-game losing streak. The whole season is really on the line in these next 3 games. They're definitely in serious danger of falling out of that top 4 position where they've been for the entire season. They've got very little time now to get this turned around. Only 6 games left in the regular season.
A lot can be made early in the season if it's a series doesn't go your way. The Engineers drop a couple games in Alaska, and the sky is falling seemingly. But then they win a couple, and this is one of the top 20 teams in the country. You don't want to put too much weight in any 2 games. So Tom, I guess my question for you is, can RPI put these 2 behind them, or even these last 3, if you will, and start a winning streak next weekend?
Well, they absolutely can. I mean, they've shown the ability to play really good hockey against really good teams. They got a nothing tie against Harvard here at the Fieldhouse. The Crimson will be their next opponent. They played tough against Dartmouth here earlier in the season. That was a game that they also lost. But 2 home losses this late in the season, when you're right in the thick of a playoff fight to get that home, one of those 4 first-round bye spots. This was not a good time for the Engineers to come out with a couple of flat games. And really, in this game, it was only a flat period because RPI played 40 really strong minutes tonight. They needed to get the 60. When they didn't, Clarkson jumped all over them. A team like Clarkson, who's playing good hockey right now, is going to do that every single time.
No, you don't like to worry about injuries and who's in the lineup, who's not. But if RPI can get Parker Reno back to full health, to get him back in the lineup where he was playing so well, plus 13 is the best on the team, and getting him back to where he was. This is a better team with him out there, clearly. Just providing some stability where they may not have it along the blue line, some inexperience back there, maybe showing a little bit for RPI over the last couple weekends. They'll look to have him come back and get Riley Bourbonnais back to full strength. You can see glimpses of it. He's getting there, but he's not quite there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every team has to work their way through injuries, though. There's no team that's immune. I mean, this is a Clarkson team tonight that's been ravaged with injuries. To some extent, they were playing anyone who was healthy. And, they're still getting the job done up there. So whether you have a deep team or not, it has to be next man up. RPI has done a great job of that this season. We've seen guys like Tommy Grand, Cam Hackett stepping up and making big plays when they've been forced into the lineup by injuries. But, this is a team that's got to just, like I've been saying, 60 full minutes of hockey is the only way that they're going to pull themselves out of this losing streak.
So the Engineers dropped this one here 4-2. They had a 2-goal lead going to the third period. Milos Schwabella, who's seemingly kind of hot and cold throughout his career. He's some multi-goal games, and he can disappear for a little while. Good to see him get back in the offensive swing of things and get a couple goals. Maybe that'll turn him around offensively and get that line going, try to score some goals. Remember, this is a team that hadn't scored in the last 2 games, and they look to create some pretty good chances in this game, maybe unlucky to score more than a couple goals.
Yeah, Seth Appert has always depended on his seniors to really lead this team. Offensively, defensively, pretty much everywhere. So when you see a top senior like Milos Schwabella have a great game like this, it probably sends some good vibes his way, but the overall team effort ended up being lacking in the third period. You can't just depend on one player to carry you the entire way, whether it's your goaltender, because RPI has depended greatly on Jason Kasdorf this year. You can't depend on your goaltender all the time. You also can't depend on one guy scoring all the goals, making all the plays, making some of the hits too, as we were seeing there in the second and third periods as well. But again, at the end of the day, you have to give credit to Clarkson because they certainly didn't give up at the end of after being down 2-0 after 2 periods, and they made RPI pay for coming out flat in the third period.
Engineers on really just their 3rd losing streak of the season. Had one early, had one 2-game skid against Harvard and Dartmouth, and now this one 3 in a row. We talked about the resilience they've shown this year. They're going to have to show it maybe in the toughest time to do so at the end of the year when all the pressure is on, Tom. So I guess our closing thought here for you, what's RPI going to need to do to kind of right the ship here before we head to the weekend?
It has to come from the senior leadership. I mean, we touched on that late in the game, that guys like Chris Bradley that are the team captains, senior leadership, they've got to be the ones to settle down that locker room and say, look, guys, we've got 6 games left here to make an impact this season. And it's really incumbent upon them to say, what do you want your legacy to be here this year? Do you want it to be that you got out to a good lead but couldn't hold on to it late in the year? That's the direction that they're going in right now.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. I'd like to thank again, once again, all of you for joining us for tonight's 39th Big Red Freakout. We had an exciting game here. The Engineers coming up a little bit on the short end of the stick, a 4-2 Clarkson victory. So for Tom Reel, I'm Perry Lascaris. We thank you for watching today's game. This has been a production of RPI Hockey on RPI TV.